Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May 2024 wrap-up Hack the Movies Live. This is a very special episode. I'm joined by one of my favorite people in the world, a man that I love, that I hang out with, that I is like a brother to me. It's just one of the most amazing men ever.
Whoa!
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, I clicked on JoeyC. Get the hell out of here. Doug, how are you, Doug?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, hi. How you doing?
Wow, Doug Walker on my show. Sorry for putting JoeyC on, and that was a huge mistake. I don't want anyone to think that I think highly of JoeyC.
No, it's better. That's gonna clip me doing whatever I was doing with that anyway, so don't worry. Our friendship will be ruined in seconds, so don't worry. We won't be friends by the end of this.
I want to thank you for being on the show. This is now 2 very popular, important shows that you've been on in 1 week. I'm sure this is the bigger one that you were more excited
10 times, man. 10 times. A lot more prep for it, too. A lot more prep.
Yes. We did some episodes a long time ago. I've been wanting to get you back on the show at some capacity. I was like, screw it. I do these live episodes now. Let's get him in here for that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man.
And joined, as always, I prematurely did it, JoeyC. Hello, Joey.
Tony, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Very manly.
But no, put your arms down. My heart is good yet.
Oh, sorry.
Not every time. Every time.
I was just checking something.
You know, is he really strong, or is he just look strong against Grimace there? Because like Grimace is literally a purple blob. Because that was pretty impressive.
Wait, I have a Grimace stuffed animal. Let me go get it. And with me joining us is a very reliable guest. When you say we have an episode to do, he will clear his schedule and he will be there for it. And that's Logan. I am describing Logan, but that's not who's on the show. Gil. Hello, Gil.
Hello,
so nice
Tony.
of you to show up to something you were scheduled for and agreed to. It's so nice.
I do like how I was like, Tony, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to make it, but I could do it tonight. I could do it tomorrow. I could do it this weekend. I could do it any other day. And there was no acknowledgement, just a lot of cursing,
Yeah.
a lot of threats.
If you don't know what we're talking about.
But Gil, you need a Y at the end of your name, like the rest of us, because you're practically naked without it.
Cody,
Exactly.
Doug,
Gilly.
My niece calls me that, but nobody else.
There you go.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you might notice that the new Planet of the Apes episode is not on the list. That's because me and Logan did it as its own separate live episode.
With apes.
What is the best modern Planet of the Apes? Which Gil totally let us down on. Thanks, Gil. What else is new? Check that episode out.
Call him Gilly throughout the rest of this review. Just
You know what? Yeah, Gilly. You're Gilly now. Gil's gonna like.
My niece already doesn't like you because I used you as an excuse once. She wants to get into YouTube, so she wanted me to edit a video for her. And I was like, I couldn't because I was preparing for this live stream with Tony. She's like, who's Tony? I don't like Tony.
Well, I hope a lot of people like Tony because I recently bought new cameras. I got these nice new cameras.
You look beautiful in them. Just beautiful.
You. If it's because I look terrified, it's because that they were very, very expensive.
You look like the Man on the Moon poster.
Well, no, it's not that. They were very expensive, so I look horrified. And patreon.com/hackthemovies, patreon.com/hackthemovies. Now more than ever, people. YouTube ad rev hasn't been great lately. So that's a new development there. And on Patreon right now, you can watch the early episode for Child's Play 2. One of our worst guests ever is in it, Kit Osborne. Possibly the worst guest we've ever
Brad
had.
Dorff? No. I heard he was a sweetheart.
No, Brad Dorff is great. Kit Osborne is a local wrestler. He's terrible. So yeah, he's in that episode with me and Crystal. So that's available right now. We were talking about cursing before stream. They do say one of the curse words that I know YouTube really doesn't like, and then they kept saying it. So there's about 1,500 censors there. So let me know if I missed one. Watch the episode early. Let me know if I missed some censorship. And also,
we can't even say the F word once, man. I mean, it's like we were talking before. You are lucky because we say like the F word once. It's just like, yeah, no money for you.
Also on Patreon is the Madam Web commentary
Oh my
track.
God.
Oh, lucky me! I got to watch that movie twice.
Oh, I gotta hear that. I just reviewed that this week, man. I love that movie. It is so beautifully. I gotta watch that track, man.
Yeah,
oh my God, I'm excited for that.
I got my friend Kaylee to be in it, who knows nothing of Spider-Man. She's seen some of the movies and retained no knowledge of them. So I was like, let me see. Dakota Johnson said that you don't have to know anything about Spider-Man to like this. Let me see if that's true. It turns out that's not true, but you should listen to the commentary track. It's a lot of fun.
The movie clearly knew nothing about Spider-Man.
She went into it thinking Sydney Sweeney was Madam Web, so she was already like,
I hope everything works out great for this Uncle Ben character. Bright future ahead, clearly.
There was at one point, she's like, wait, is the baby Spider-Man? I'm like, yes, that is the twist. The baby is Spider-Man. What's next here? Oh, and Cameo. Book me on Cameo, please. Those cameras were expensive. I love doing Cameo. It's like my favorite thing in the world. You also have a Cameo, Doug. Everyone here has cameos. Oh, well, maybe not these two. And also on Patreon, we have a new wallpaper that's X-Men themed that D. Palmer did for us. Check that out. And I think the shilling segment is done, so let's get into it, guys. First up is the movie Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. From the director of Bullet Train, which I still have not watched. It tells the story of a stuntman who's in love with a camera operator, but he injures himself in a freak accident. And a year later, his camera operator friend is now a director. And the star of the film, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is probably the best role he's been in forever, goes missing. And they're like, we need his stuntman to help find him. It sounds like a stupid idea, but it kind of makes sense later on. Then there's some wacky shenanigans. It's tied into this mystery, and there's plenty of stunts. Doug, what did you think of the film?
I didn't get into it, honestly.
Really?
I heard some good reviews on it, and I'm not I saw a little bit of the original show, but I mean, I'm not a diehard fan of it or anything, so I was going in with kind of new eyes and everything. And it is more of a rom-com, which is fine, but in my opinion, for me anyway, if you're gonna do the rom-com tropes, you either gotta go crazy with them. You have to do a Christmas rom-com thing where you have these stupid rules and they're really, really over the top and stuff like that. Or you have to be legit really charming with a smart script and really believe, the chemistry and the interaction and stuff like that. While the actors are really charming, every line I was kind of saying what the lines were going to be, and then the jokes weren't getting a big laugh out of me. And then the other thing that, I don't know, rubbed me the wrong way, because I know the guy who directed this was a stuntman, and he said he wanted to put more attention on stunt performers, which they do not get enough attention, big time. I thought that was they just kind of say, hey, they don't get enough attention, then they don't focus much on actually planning out the stunts and everything, which I know is supposed to be a rom-com too, but I'm thinking, man, if they really did a movie you're really focusing on a real stunt performer and a real director having this chemistry together, just a real version of that I think would be really interesting. But even if they want to go this silly route, that's fine. It just didn't make me laugh that much. And with the stunts, I actually thought the bloopers at the end, where they're showing them actually prepared to do the stunts and then they show them in one take, I thought those were shot and edited better than the ones in the movie, and I had more respect for the stunts being performed in it, because everything else just looked like a typical action picture to me. So it didn't do much for me. I didn't hate it, but as someone that does think that stunt performers don't get enough attention, I did expect more attention on them.
Okay, Joey, how did you feel?
Well, first, Tony, you forgot to mention, it might be your manliness, but you forgot to mention the name of the game here. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Rewind. JoeyC, what's the name of the game for these live shows? Sorry, I skipped through the shilling section. Please, shill just one last time for us.
It's okay. Tony, the name of the game here is Super Chat. So, chat, if you want Tony, Dougie, Joey, or Gilly to whisper sweet nothings into your ear, send us a Super Chat. We'll read it out loud within reason, for the love of God. Okay. We got that out of the way.
With that being said, how did you feel about The Fall Guy?
I was super stoked for it because David Leitch did amazing with Bullet Train, one of my favorite movies in the last 10 years. And Aaron Taylor Johnson is the man. I thought he played the douchebag so good. I thought Ryan Gosling's comedic timing was pretty okay throughout, but I do feel like they tried way too hard to be funny in this movie. And Doug, you mentioned the rom-com aspect of this movie. I feel like they couldn't decide if they were going to stick with that storyline or not because, like, I think it was his ex-girlfriend or his girlfriend or whatever. They didn't spend nearly enough time together to, like, get me on board. They were pretty much separated until, like for most of the back half of the movie.
Yeah, and that's a thing too. They say they just kind of separate in the beginning and throughout like 90% of the movie we don't know why and when it's revealed. It's not a very good reveal. Exactly. So like that really hurts the chemistry as well.
It does. So half the time I'm like, all right, am I watching like a mainly an action movie or are they trying to get on the rom-com train? And I just felt like the story wasn't that captivating, but the ride along, it was pretty okay. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't the worst movie on the list, I'll tell you that.
No, I think we all know what the worst movie. The one movie I left off the thumbnail graphic. Gilly boy, how did you feel about The Fall Guy?
I was trying to see if I could remove myself from the stage for a second. I don't know if I can get back on, though. This movie actually gave me a lot of hope for cinema because I've been seeing so many headlines about how movies are dying because this is failing at the box office. But I realized inherent in that headline is the assumption that this movie is worthy of a big box office performance. But seeing it, I agree with everything that both of you guys said. It's just not that great a movie. It's like, okay. And at first I thought the movie kind of put me under a spell where I was like, there's all these really clever, zippy one-liners. But I realized that was all just like the charm and chemistry of Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. But when you actually listen to what they're saying, like, wait a minute, that's not clever at all. Like there was this thing with the Post-it notes, and he's like, oh, he's still doing the Post-it notes? Yeah, it's at like a Memento level now. And I was like, well, it's a movie reference, but it's just a movie reference. Like, there's nothing clever about it, and they sprinkle those in throughout the movie. There's one part where they talk about how the third act of the movie they're making isn't working. So one of the characters suggests, what if we go meta and in the movie itself point out that the third act isn't working? And I'm like, is that what they did with this movie? Because it goes really meta and doesn't take its own plot seriously at all, but it's using that meta aspect not in a Scream-like way where it's commenting on something or deconstructing something. It really just becomes so winky that you can't really get invested in the plot at all. Yeah. But I do think Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt did have great chemistry, and when they're playing off each other, I had a lot of fun with that. And I have to admit, anytime that Kiss song
the disco, the Kiss is one disco
like,
song.
I was made for loving you. So good.
It did work almost every time for me, but generally I was like, it's fun in spots, but overall not very good.
Well, look, I think I like this more than all of you guys. As I was watching it, I was at the very end, I was like, that was a great experience. That needs to be experienced on the big screen. And I said that from my living room watching it on my TV because I didn't see this in theaters. No, I kind of agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. It kind of worked for me. I'm kind of a sucker for these rom-com action movies, and I don't know why. Like, I'm thinking like Night and Day with Tom Cruise. I enjoyed that. I liked going way back, like Romancing the Stone. And then what was the new one that was kind of like that? One with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I enjoyed that one too. Mostly for the Brad Pitt fake out. That was pretty great. This one I kind of enjoyed. But what you were saying about stunt work, Doug, I thought like the stunts would be a little bit more impressive in this.
Yeah. Well, and they are. See, that's the thing. When they show the behind the scenes, they are. I think they're shot okay. I think they're not edited. Well, they're edited just like a regular action film, and for a film that's about stunt performers, I think you really have to show why this is impressive. You may have to show like a car jump over, a giant candy or something. If you got to show it like 2 or 3 times all the way from 3 angles, do it. You've built up how incredible stunt work is. Let us see the stunt work and let us really take it in.
My issue with it is, in the film, several times, there's these conversations about not relying on visual effects and doing the stunts in camera. And then most of the stunts, like this image here, look like a cartoon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, why would you include... I would have been fine, because with comedies, I'm not worried about good visual effects, usually. Sometimes it's funnier if a comedy has bad visual effects. But I'm like, you made a point to, like, say you have a stance on in-camera action, then most of these stunts look like just cartoon CGI stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, that you're not really, like, delivering on what you're promising here in the script. However, I will say, you said the jokes didn't land for you. Guys, I lost my shit laughing at the unicorn gag.
That is the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
So just to sum it up here, they drug Ryan Gosling, and he wants to know when the drugs wear off. And he's like, when you stop seeing the unicorn. And he looks over and there's a unicorn. And that's funny. And then the next scene, he's like checking in the hotel and the unicorn is behind him still. I'm like, oh, that's pretty great. And he like goes into a room and they don't even draw attention to it. The unicorn's just in like the other room next to him. And I couldn't stop laughing at that guy.
Well, okay, one other thing I'll add on top of that. One other thing they did that I'm saying to myself, how has this not been done more often? Because I couldn't think of another movie that did. There's a scene where they roofie his drink. They give him some sort of drug that makes him see stuff like unicorns. Yeah. And he has an action sequence, a fight sequence, and it's very short. But I'm thinking, why aren't there more fight scenes where somebody's on some sort of hallucinogen or something like that? Like, that's a really clever, inventive idea. You know, where when he punches someone, he'll actually say pow or something, or he'll have like motion lines when he's punching someone, or sparkles or something. It's like, that's a really great idea. But they only sort of, you know, dabble in it. I'm thinking like, man, I'd love to see that go even further.
But I was initially disappointed by that because, like you guys were saying earlier about how this is a stunt man movie. So I was expecting them to really go in interesting directions with the stunts. And I was like, okay, so the first fight scene is now punctuated with this kind of cartoonish look because he's on drugs. But I was like, okay, it's only because he's on drugs, but the next fight scene is going to be really grounded. But then, Tony, like you said, when they were spinning in that truck, I was like, this looks like a cartoon. I also thought there would be an element of he's used to stunts that have been rigged up and prepared, but can he really go out there and spontaneously like jump? But they didn't play off that element at all, really. He just actually was a big action hero.
Yeah, he was like legit a good fighter, and that could have been a joke where like he's so used to choreographed fights that he wouldn't actually know what to do in a fight because he doesn't know what the other guy's going to do. You could have had a lot of fun with that, and for some reason they didn't really go there.
Well, and I think and maybe because we've been on shoots and stuff, that for me, the most suspenseful scene is just when he's first on set and he's driving and they're trying to tell him, you know, get a little closer to the camera. I'm going to hit the camera. I don't think I'm going to have the control of the speed. No, go ahead and do it. And he hits the camera. And I remember watching it just going, oh, like that. You felt that dread of just hitting a camera so much more than like any of the other like scenes or the story or anything else. Because I think you really felt like the tension of that. That was the one scene where, even though obviously it's played up for movies and simplified, I really felt like, man, you're getting into like the stress of being a stunt performer, and it's interesting. Like, it's really, really interesting. And if they want to go really big, go crazy big. I don't think this movie goes crazy enough, honestly. It either had to be pulled back a lot more, or it had to go just crazy balls to the wall nuts, in my opinion.
But overall, I think it was fine. I guess it'd be a good date movie. Because, you know, girls
I can see it as that.
Yeah, girls get like the romance out of it. Guys get some kind of action out of it. It'll please both of them. JoeyC, will you be watching this movie on your next date?
Of course. I have a whole book of them somewhere.
Grimace has it.
But yeah, you said the original TV show. I did not know there was an old TV show. I saw Lee Majors at the end. And I'm like, that's Lee Majors. I'm like, what the fuck is this cameo? And I'm like, hold on. I'm like, oh, this whole thing has been a remake. I'm like, oh, really reaching at the bottom of the barrels there. I thought Chips was reaching when they rebooted Chips a while back, but
I was shocked to see they're making a movie. The only thing I don't remember the show being anything that except again putting attention on some performers and stuff. But the theme song is very, very catchy. That is the one thing.
The theme song should have been like a cue because he doesn't show up to the post-credit scene, which I thought was funny. But yeah, I'm watching. I'm just like, what is this theme song? It feels like an old-timey song. And then I was like, oh, okay, got it. I understand now. But yeah, that is it for the Fall Guy. Next, we got to talk about everyone's favorite horror movie, Tarot.
Yes,
I would-
I Thought We Were Friends movie. When I saw that on the list, I'm like, I didn't even know what it was. I never even saw a preview for this movie.
Look, Doug, what I like to do about these wrap-ups, I don't always want to do like reboots and big franchise stuff. I know I have to. But with these wrap-ups, I could talk about like smaller movies not based off an IP, which I thought I was doing with Fall Guy, but it turns out that was a reboot. My bad. So I usually try to throw like one or two horror things on there, like smaller horror. You know, put a spotlight.
Is that what this was?
That's what I thought it was. Then I saw the Sony logo in the beginning, and I went, "Uh-oh." So yeah,
so much justification. I'm really trying to cultivate the perfect list, and Tarot was just the perfect.
Yeah, and as I sat in the theater the other night, me and 4 other people.
You subjected
I'm impressed there
other
was
people
4.
to this?
No. People were just there. There were 4 other people there.
That's still impressive that there was 4.
Yeah. One of them was actually an old friend of mine. I didn't recognize him. He said, "Hey, yo," and I'm like, "Oh, is this a fan?" I'm like, which is fine. Which is fine. I was about to be like, "You better take a picture of me and say I'm awesome." I'm like, "Oh wait, no, you're an old friend of mine."
You better take a picture of me and say I'm awesome, old friend.
Yeah, and as the movie's playing, I'm just like, I got to apologize to these guys. This is the most generic movie ever. Okay, so just to briefly go through the plot. A bunch of friends are in a cabin in the woods, or no, a mansion in the woods. That was the original part. It was a mansion in the woods. And they find a haunted tarot card deck. Now, before I offend anyone, does anyone here believe in astrology and tarot?
Not really, though.
I didn't think anybody did really, but for Halloween last year, I got a tarot card deck, and I thought I was so clever.
Oh, wow, it's got right there.
They were like, "What's so funny about that?" And I was like, "Nothing. I think it's a very interesting way."
Yeah, I kind of that stuff just really bothers me. It just annoys me so much. So when I was watching this, them talking about their horoscopes and signs, I'm like, oh god, I want all these characters.
Such a Leo.
Look, a long time ago, I was trying to score points with a girl, and I pretended that I was interested in astrology. That was a mistake. She was way too into astrology. I'm like, yeah, I'm a Virgo, and she started sending me like charts and asking me about like the houses of my signs, and I went, I'm like, I don't like the girl this much to be putting this much effort in. Oh my god, this is a horrible mistake. So that was the scariest part of this movie, was getting flashbacks to that period of my life.
I was gonna say that premise sounds scarier than what's in the movie.
Yeah, that is a horror movie when you pretend to be into something to get a girl, and it turns out she's way too into it.
But I can see why people get into it, because just now I had to stop myself. I was going to be like, "Oh my god, Tony, I'm a Virgo too," but then I was like, "Who cares? Just leave it, keep it to yourself."
So, they do their tarot reading, and one by one, their tarot predictions come true, and they're faced by a monster who opens his mouth and screams.
Terrified.
What?
There
They're terrified.
you go. You're fired, Gil.
Gil, I appreciate the pun, but I was in the middle of a bit, you asshole. Now I have to rewind.
And he made it better. He made it better.
Rewind. Everyone forget Gilly for a second. Hold on. Okay. Gil went through a tunnel. Doug, sometimes people who call on the show, they call while they're driving, and they drive through tunnels, and they disappear.
Happens a lot.
So
That was a big car he had.
So their tarot readings come true, and they get faced by a monster who opens his mouth and screams, and a monster who opens their mouth and screams, and a monster who opens their mouth and screams, and a jester. Oh, Gil's back. A lot of variety in the monsters there. This premise isn't too bad, and I agree. I didn't mind the monsters like look and everything. It's just the fact that they all did the horror movie. Like, I'm getting a little tired of that. Like, it's fine once in a while, but when every horror movie is just a monster going, it's like, okay, shut the fuck up. Stop yelling at me. But this is a trope that I'm seeing in everything right now. We saw it in Night Swim, Imaginary, Boogeyman. There's a moment in these supernatural horror films where they look up, Smile's another one. They look up like an expert or a survivor who knows about the demon stuff, and then they go to them for information. And this time it was this lady who I liked in Mandy and the Northman, but she was also in that terrible Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, the new one.
Yep.
And it's just I'm getting so tired of seeing the scene in every single one of these movies. I'm like,
I can't talk about it. No, don't bother me. But we have plot device. They slowly opened the door and cut to them all hurtled around. It was years ago.
Well, why did you make a website?
What was that?
She made a website telling her whole story, put her phone number and address, and people show up to go away. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You do want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about that thing. I have a book on it, though. Here you go.
The one thing that they do with her that I did think was kind of fun. Do we care if we go into spoilers? And
No,
is anyone going to be
spoil
spoiled?
this.
I love they bring her in to like save the day, help us out, and she starts to do whatever the tarot reading and stuff, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry," and she dies. The thing kills her. I kind of liked that, and she had the best death in the movie because every character has something that kind of looks like it could be an accident, like, oh, this person fell off a bridge, or this person got hit by a train or something, and she just drops to the ground filled with swords. Like, that is hilarious. Like a pincushion filled with swords. And I'm like, well, how do you explain that as an accident, Tarot?
She got the 6 of swords, and I'm like, that one wasn't even clever. That was just really literal.
I'm just imagining, like, Fire Marshal Bill explaining what happened. Like, okay, how was this an accident? Oh, it's very simple. You're just going through, you see a cockroach, you go, and you just happen to have all your swords on the ceiling, and you smash them, and then boom! You look like a pincushion.
Well, you're right, because the one reading is like, you're always trying to climb that ladder and this, and then she falls off a ladder. There's stuff like that. But yeah, hers was just like, you're going to get stabbed a bunch of times. And then I was groaning during this scene, so they got Spider-Man kid to be there, which, by the way, this actor is now on my shit list. He's fine in Spider-Man. But I think the last movie I saw him in was Lift, the Netflix movie, which is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start avoiding this guy's movies. All right. He's the wacky, fun character. And he gets attacked by the Jester. And then it cuts to black. And I'm just like, he lived. And I'm like, what? All right. Maybe he figured out a way to reverse it and get away from it. And it's like, no, it's just his roommate, who we never see, I think, interrupted the monster. And then I guess the monster just ran away. And I'm like, I get you wanted to keep up. Like, we all knew he was living. Don't even do the death fake out at that point. Just make him one of the survivors. I thought that was the dumbest thing in the world.
Well, and they try to recreate Get Out at the end, where a car pulls up, and they think, oh, in the tarot reading it says something about a car, and then he gets out, and it's like, it's just the ending to Get Out. Yeah, and you're right. Like, these monsters are suddenly shy. Like, oh, there's 2 people in the room. I can't perform. Don't look at me. I can't go if you look. Like, it makes no sense.
I also felt like the Ned character was so inconsistent, where all of a sudden he's like, I'm going home by myself. Like, the tarot card reading said he was hard-headed. And I feel like he isn't. The whole movie, he's like, yeah, we should totally go talk to that lady. And then all of a sudden, he's like, no one's going to talk me out of this. I'm going to walk all the way back in the dark by myself.
I just love this whole movie. I'm just like, I would never be in this situation because I would never waste my time getting a tarot reading. Like, the demon would never know where to find me because I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Leave me alone.
The one thing you did point out too is that the design of the tarot cards is kind of fun. Like it's these, they're not the usual kind of tarot cards. They kind of look like Tim Burton's tarot cards a little bit, and like, so you do look at these things and say, oh, it'll be fun to see what these things look like. But as you said, they just sort of pop up real quick, go and that's it, and it's over. So it's not even that impressive.
I guess that's the only like positives I have on it, is that the monsters look kind of cool. There was some interesting like production design and set design, but other than that, this movie was fucking bland as hell. Does anyone have anything nice to say that I didn't already say?
I would. Go ahead, Joey.
Oh, Gilly, I'm so sorry, pal. I dug how they kept the monsters in the shadows for a lot of the movie. I don't know.
Every horror movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I thought the creatures looked fucking awesome, but I had more fun doing my taxes. And
it was scarier.
Way scarier.
I think that's all we got to say about tarot.
Yep.
Yeah,
wait, one more nice thing about it.
Okay.
I do think it's a cool setup. You go through the tarot readings for everyone. So now you have that, that pun, you might end up on the wrong track. How are they going to render that death? And the same thing, the tarot card designs are really cool. So you get to look forward to, when I actually see that monster, what are they going to look like?
Yeah.
And I thought the magician death was probably the most creative one, where there was like, moved my attention needle a little bit. That was cool.
The creepiest part of that was the audience watching.
Yeah, because then it's like, oh wait, do these like tarot creatures have like an audience always watching? Like that is the one where I started to question how this world works a little bit. I will also say I liked, I guess without giving away too much, the when she says when one door closes, another opens up. The payoff on that I thought was pretty clever. But all the other ones, like you said, like on the wrong track. Like, oh, well, I wonder what that's gonna be. Okay, like it's not too tricky. But that one I thought was actually pretty smart.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm sorry. I made you guys watch this.
There's always
I
one
don't
every
accept
month.
it.
Yeah,
You know what?
there's always a lot.
You're right. You're right to not accept my apology.
You've
I
made me
should've
watch some
looked at it.
terrible movies, but
Look, I should have
comes
looked
up
at it was a Sony movie. Okay, my bad.
This was all another prequel to Spider-Man. I mean, come on. If you didn't put that together, well, that's your fault.
I feel bad. There is this new interesting slasher movie that's like playing in limited theaters about like a. It's all from the slasher's perspective, so you're following him around as he's hunting the teens. I think it's gonna be on Shudder, so we might check it out. But like, I'm like, that's what I want to talk about. But I'm like, I don't know if it's playing around me, and I don't know where it is. Same thing with I Saw the TV Glow. I hear that was really good, but at the time I was setting this up, it didn't look like it was gonna play anywhere near me. So I was just like, well, shit. So there we go. We got stuck with fucking tarot. Oops.
Right.
Next up, before we do our break, we got Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. I love Mad Max. I love all the Mad Max movies. Yes, even Beyond Thunderdome. That's actually my favorite because it was my introduction to Mad Max.
Me too. That's the one
yeah,
that first introduced me to it. So I think I'm always gonna have a soft spot for it.
I'm aware that it's the weakest. I will acknowledge that, but I still enjoy it. It's still got merit. It's pretty good. I fucking love Tina Turner in it.
Yeah. I like it.
Loved Fury Road. Thought it was incredible. It was like one of the few times where an old director returned to something and didn't ruin it. I was like, oh wow, he actually made it but he made it actually better in a little bit. That was a great job. I had heard, like, even when Fury Road was coming out, that they wanted to do a prequel about Furiosa, and I went, no thanks. I like Furiosa. I thought she was a fine character, but I think we learned everything we needed to learn about her in that film. And that's the thing. I saw a lot of asshole guys. They're like, why would you watch a Mad Max movie without Max? Why are they focusing on a lady? And I'm like, well, other than the first movie, they're not really like Max. They're not really about Max. Max always wanders into a situation, and then it's always like Road Warrior. There is a colony that has a bunch of fuel. They want to get to a destination, but there's a gang that's stopping them. And he walks in. He wants just a few tanks of gasoline to get away. He ends up getting wrapped up in their crusade because he is a former police officer. So his old morality comes out. He's like, I do need to help these people. Same thing with Beyond Thunderdome. He thinks he's an asshole. He's like, all right, fine. I'll kill this dude for Tina Turner. I don't care. And then he finds out it's like a deformed dude and he feels bad. And then he goes meets the kids and the kids are all full of hope. And he's like, don't have any hope. Everything sucks. And then toward the end, he's like, all right, getting on the plane with that guy. Maybe you'll find something. I don't know. And same with Fury Road. He's just like, I feel like I've let a lot of people down. I just want to be alone. And then he's like, I guess I got to help these people out. Maybe I'll get it right this time. So yeah, I don't think people get Mad Max sometimes. So I feel like,
well, and it is a series where sometimes you forget the main characters even in the movie half the time. And I think Furiosa is also kind of plays into that too.
Yes, so she kind of fills that role in this. So just to briefly, Furiosa, we get to see the backstory of her in the green place being taken. Although they changed it because I think they said like her and her mom were taken, but now it's like she was just taken and her mom pursued her. She like followed her around, and then they get killed by Chris Hemsworth's gang. And by the way, if you are a guy who skipped this movie because you didn't want to see a female protagonist, you're missing quite possibly the best Chris Hemsworth role ever. You're missing probably one of my favorite Mad Max characters ever. I thought every time he was on screen, I'm like, this is incredible. This is hilarious. This is one of my favorite things ever. He takes her in. He ends up giving her to Morton Joe and his boys. Fun fact, that guy on the left there, he's not in Fury Road. It's the actor from Fury Road. He plays a different character in this because in the Mad Max movies, they reuse actors all the time. But he's actually the main villain in the video game that they put out. So I guess this is his origin
that's
story.
cool.
Huh. Yeah. And so Furiosa gets traded to Immortan Joe. Dementis takes over Gastown. And then again, the rest of the movie is this power struggle between Immortan Joe and Dementis, and then Furiosa teaming up with this guy who's not Mad Max. I was calling him Pleasant Pete because he's like nice. His actually name is Jack. She learns skills from him, and she decides to take advantage of this war to go on a revenge mission. That's the plot summed up there. There we go. A little similarity here.
Yeah, I was with you. I was like, all right, so this is Mad Max. Oh, it's not. Okay, but it is.
Oh, don't worry. I'll talk about Mad Max in a second. But okay, we'll go down the list here. Doug, how did you feel about Furiosa, Mad Max Saga?
I liked it. The only downside I would say to it, one, I think the nose on Hemsworth, I think, is very distracting to me. I saw it on IMAX and super, whatever, HD and stuff like that. And you can see sometimes where, like, the little makeup line in between the skin is that. And his performance is good enough. You didn't need it. That was, like, the one thing that was kind of distracting me. But for me, I love coming back to this world, and even if it is a story that you can kind of predict what's going to happen, which is fine. I love this world. I love these characters. I love how harsh it is. I love how aggressive it is. To me, it felt like they were combining a little bit of the exploitation film angle from the first film and like the Fury Road style together, which I was okay with because Fury Road is awesome, obviously, but it's one long chase. I wouldn't mind seeing something that kind of goes through like the life of somebody or kind of takes a little bit more time and stuff like that. So I like seeing that, but that's about it for anything different, which again, I don't mind because I love this world and I love what I could just literally be like walking around this world, have no main characters. I would be fine. And the movie almost does that because again, Furiosa, like you kind of forget she's even in the movie the same way Max does because they are just the observers. But I think the only other thing that I think was intentional, I'm not sure, is that the CG isn't as good as in Fury Road, but I feel like that might be intentional because it has a little bit more of an exploitation film feel to it. Like more like modern ones that come out with sort of the fake effects, and especially when they do the zoom ins a lot that are clearly done digitally afterwards. Like I feel like it's supposed to look a little fake, but the stunts are still amazing. The world is still very cool. I like that it is still, like, even watching it again, I'm like, oh yeah, this world is just so tough and so mean and so rough and so over the top that I'm just like, I just love it so much. I just get into it a great deal. So I had a great time with it. I wish there was a little something new with it because that is something I like when there's many years in between the Mad Max movies. There's usually something really new added to it that gives it like a new kind of flavor. And this is the same flavor, but it's a delicious flavor.
JoeyC, where did you land on Mad Max? Furiosa, Mad Max
Furiosa Saga.
I thought it was a very manly movie, of course. The action rocked, man. Especially like the food transport scene. That was really awesome. And these movies are like great, easy action movies to watch because like the plot is so simple. For the most part, you drive to one point, you drive back, and that's it. So even if you're a super casual fan, these movies I think would hit for a lot of people. I also saw it in IMAX, and the sound design was fucking earth-shattering. Loved it. I did think it might have been like a little long, but I wasn't nearly as bored as I could have been. The other thing that I was a little disappointed on was the lack of practical effects, but it's just like the landscape we're in nowadays. So everything's going to be CGI. So I got to get used to it. But fucking awesome movie, man.
There is, not to skip to what I thought, there is a shit ton of visual effects in Fury Road. I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, there was no CGI in Fury Road. I'm like,
no, like all the backgrounds.
Most of the movie is CGI. Like, there's a lot of CGI.
When that guitar went like this and then back, they really did that. It looks so real.
It was just so well done. You're right. This one is not quite on that level. It stands out a lot. So if you watch them like back to back, you're like, oh, that was a hard shift. But Gil, how did you feel about Furiosa?
Mad Max,
Furiosa Road.
I don't know. First, you guys are like telling me there's no Santa Claus. I was like, Fury Road, that was all practical. It was all in the camera. But I mean, I second everything you guys have said. The movie looked incredible. The action was amazing. But I can't help but compare it to Fury Road. And not like as I'm watching it, I'm trying to compare it. But I didn't feel quite as engaged by it as I did Fury Road. And I did find myself getting somewhat exhausted by the end. And then I thought it picked back up. But I think, Doug, it's what you said, where Furiosa she almost disappears for a while in the middle of the movie because it becomes about the power struggle between Immortan Joe and the other guy, which makes sense because she's essentially biding her time, I think, waiting for the opportunity to get revenge. But I think that does something. Where Fury Road was so focused, at any moment you could point to exactly what the characters are trying to do. Like they're trying to get home. They get there is no home. Now they're trying to go back. And there's also a lot of character arcs in that movie. Like I heard a lot of people complain there wasn't much story. It was just action. But it's subtle. But you have Max deciding to stay and help. You have Nux getting betrayed by Joe and deciding to join the other side. Yeah. Furiosa deciding to trust Max. Finding her home is gone. There was a lot of emotion in that movie. And in this movie, as opposed to that, I often found myself just sort of waiting for the next big stunt action scene, which was awesome, and I loved it. But it was lacking a little bit for me in the character emotion side of things that I think helped me stay more engaged in Fury Road.
I can feel that. They try to get you a little bit with the romance, and then they try to get you just with the revenge over the mother. So yeah, like I said, I love pretty much all the Mad Max movies. At the beginning of this one, I thought the movie was mediocre.
Nice.
I forgot I had this until today. No, yeah, it took me a minute to like really get into the film. I thought the whole backstory with her as the little girl just dragged for me. I'm like, okay, no, I get it. That's how she got there. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. It takes forever for Anya Taylor-Joy to show up in this film. It's mostly like the little girl Furiosa for like the first half of the film. But yeah, once she was there, once she was learning how to do all the Imperador stuff with Jack, I started to get more into it. But what kept me watching was Chris Hemsworth. I thought that character was so funny. I think I'm gonna maybe like this. I don't know. I want to rewatch it a couple more times to see if I'll end up liking it more or liking it less. Right now, I'm kind of on the fence. Either way, it's a solid film. But yeah, the visual effects kind of took me out of it. I do think she had like a bit of a character arc, but like it's a weird thing where it's like, yeah, but then her character arc is finished in a different movie. And I guess if you didn't see that movie, they play a highlight reel during the credits.
Yeah,
which was cool, I thought.
Also, there was one moment that really made me mad. They're getting ready to do the war between Gastown and the Citadel, and they show like Chris Hemsworth's gang like going down this secret path, spreading oil, and the narrator who's like telling the whole story.
The history man.
Yeah, the history man. He's like this, and that started the war, and then we don't see that initial battle. It's just a highlight. It's just a montage. I'm like, wait, I thought we were building up to a really cool battle, and then we just see the end of several battles. I'm like, oh, I thought that would be way cooler. Okay. But it was nice to see Gastown and the Bullet Farm. They were only mentioned before. In the video game, you go to them. They kind of look similar to the video game. So that was all good. Like I said, I'm going to see how I feel about it down the line. But, I mean, this movie answered two very important questions, okay? There's only two things that stopped Fury Road from getting a 10 out of 10 for me. And it was because I didn't know the origin story of this guy. And now I do. When I found out that he worked for Chris Hemsworth and then Immortan Joe bargained to use his services and that's how he got hired, I went, finally, the mystery is solved. All throughout Fury Road, I'm like, I'm on board with everything, but how'd that guy get his job? I've been losing sleep over it since 2015. And then when in Fury Road, when Furiosa sees Max, I'm like, is this the first time they met? Or did Max once eat beans on the side of a hill and look at her far away? And this movie proved, there's no picture of it yet because it's still in theaters. This proves that, yes, Max indeed did sit on a hill eating beans and looked at Furiosa really far away. I love prequels when they Give us the backstory to shit that we don't need the backstory to.
Yeah, I'm not calling you Chewbacca. That's too many syllables. I'm calling you Chewie.
And then it kind of changes the context of Fury Road now. So now when she looks at him in Fury Road when they first meet, I'm like, oh, I bet she's going, he looks like that guy I used to date. Like, that's going to be in the back of my head now when I watch Fury Road.
Well,
I mean,
George
it's called a Mad Max Saga. He should be somewhere in there.
I guess. He should have been the one telling the story, maybe. I don't know what you do with that. I mean, I would have loved if someone was like, hey, did you hear Master Blaster left Bartertown? That would have been enough cameo for me, just hearing about events of different Mad Max movies, depending on when this takes place. They could have been like, yeah, you know that leather daddy in the Jason mask? He died the other day. Isn't that crazy?
I love the idea that this future still knows who Jason is. Jason Voorhees. The one other thing I think I didn't bring up before, I like the replacement actor who plays Morton Joe is not, but he's not doing an impression of the last guy, and I like that. He's giving it his own space. He looks just like the other guy. I mean, anyone can kind of look like that dude in that makeup, but I really liked it. He wasn't trying to do this, like, I mean, this guy sounds like Scar or Jim Cummings or something like that. I mean, he has a voice like this, and I like that. I like it was a different performance.
I did like that they brought back, where is he? The people leader? Hold on. Let me find the picture of the boys there. Yeah, this guy on the right. And I like when Chris Hemsworth gets his nipples ripped up, he like pinches his nipples because it hurts him to watch.
Well, he literally has like some sort of weird cod piece on the whole time. I think just everything probably gets him off in one way or another.
So I love how incompetent Dementis is in this. Like, he's technically a leader, but he's not a good one, and he's bad at like bargaining. Like, if he didn't have Furiosa there, and I love when he's pretending to be her dad. He's like, oh, yeah, it's my little one. Lost her mother. Tragic tale. But I love that he's bargaining. He's like, I need this. He's like, I need plenty of protein. My boys need the protein. And I love that the people eater's like, no, we're not giving that to you. And he's like, you better. He's like, no, but like, we statistically can't. He's like, crunch the numbers. We don't have enough resources to give you what you want. And I do love when he accidentally kills the Gastown guy, which was his whole bargaining thing. He shoots a spike through his head. I could have watched a whole movie of the wacky shenanigans of Dementis. Like, when he first shows up like a badass and they just chase him and his guys away.
And I'm with you. I didn't know he. I hate using the word range because that sounds bad because I've only really seen him as Thor. But I didn't know he had that range. I didn't know he could be that silly, and I really like him as Thor. But I didn't know, he can do this kind of voice the whole time and blah blah blah. And it's not something where I'm like, oh, that's just an actor doing a voice. Like, I really bought him as the character.
Yeah. His wife plays 2 roles in the movie. Did you guys know which ones those were?
No.
Nope.
The blonde lady with the gun at the beginning.
Yeah, she's
and
the blonde
one with
lady
the messed up face.
Yeah, and then she's the mutated girl, like the mutilated girl that like is part of his gang. So he gave his wife 2 roles in the film. I don't know. I had a good time watching it. I thought it was a little too long. It was longer than I think it needed to be. But you're right. I like revisiting this world, but what I like about Mad Max is seeing new places each time. And I get it's a Furiosa prequel, so they have to be here. But I'd like them to go forward. I want to see Max on another adventure.
I think it was really not a great idea to do this prequel though, because
I agree.
I think there's no chance they're going to make another one now because it's bombing at the box office.
Yeah,
and like
I think it's going to find its audience though. Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to find it on the big screen, but I think it'll find its audience.
Well,
I hope so.
Fury Road wasn't like. It became a decent, like right away. I don't think it was like a huge smash hit.
No, it was never number 1. That's the irony. This is one of the only Mad Max films to be number 1 at the box office. It just happens to be during one of the lowest box offices of all time.
But don't you think, like, I was thinking about it, and to me, Fury Road was almost like a phenomenon. Like, that trailer was crazy. I was like, I need to see this movie when they're driving into that big storm. Like, what a lovely day. Like, it had those moments, and it became this, like, cultural phenomenon where everyone's like, you need to see that movie. But if not for that, Mad Max to me is a weird world, and I feel like mainstream wouldn't typically go for a movie like this that's so strange. So I feel like on top of that, now you're making it a prequel, which adds another stigma to it. I don't know. I'm worried that we're not going to get more Mad Max movies because of this, but I hope you're right, Doug, that it finds an audience.
I can see another one happening, but they would cut the budget down. And I think honestly, I think the reason it's not doing that great, I think you're right. I think it is because it's a prequel. People know what happens to the character. I think the look of the world is Fury Road again with nothing that new added, and I think everyone's just gonna be like, well, why don't I just see Fury Road again? I think they really had to give us something really new, which I love this movie. I love coming back to this world. I had a great time. I didn't think it was too long because I love this world so much, but I totally acknowledge, like, for the common moviegoer, it's like, well, okay, what's new that I'm going to see here? And there really isn't anything new. Even the story is, again, you can kind of guess what's going to happen in it. But for me, like I said, I love that world so much. I'll watch it like a million times, but I think for the common moviegoer, you have to justify going out to see this now when you have so much content everywhere.
And I'm thinking of characters that I'd rather see a prequel for. Lord Humongous would be fun. I don't know if you know this, but in like original drafts of the script, Lord Humongous was going to be revealed to be Max's partner who got lit on fire in the previous film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they ended up changing it probably because they're like, wow, when did he hit the gym recovering from all those burns? But I would also, I'm sorry, Tina Turner's character. Oh, like how did an American lady just happen to be in Australia during the apocalypse and take over this town? I'm like, we never learned about that. I'm like, I want to know more about that. I'd rather see that. We'll never see that, but I would like to see that backstory. Hollywood, I'll do it. I'll do the anti-entity backstory.
There you go.
This movie's struggling at the box office. They give Tony the reins, and he's like, "We're doing a Tina Turner prequel from Thunderdome."
It's what.
But will Max be eating beans from far away?
Yes, Max will be eating beans from far away, and I'm gonna be like. I'll be like, and we're going to get Tina Turner in the movie. They're like, we keep telling you, Tony, she's dead. I'm like, oh, damn it.
You could put a prosthetic nose on Chris Hemsworth.
You can make a prosthetic Tina Turner.
Well, apparently, by the way, there were some digital effects on the little girl to make her look more like Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
I kept watching the whole movie. I'm like, they look so similar. And she looks more and more similar as she ages.
Speaking of computer stuff, I saw that the president of Sony said that he was going to use AI to help production in their films. And after watching Taro, I'm like, this feels like an AI-generated film. This feels like they plugged it into a thing.
I mean, after Disney had their first AI movie with Wish, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, yeah, check. I feel bad saying don't rush to the theater to see it. I'm like, if you're into this world and you like these movies, definitely check it out. Try to see it in IMAX. If you'd only seen Fury Road and you thought it was good, but that's it, you can wait till streaming or when it hits disc. Like, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not one of those guys. There's a lot of guys on like Twitter right now. They're like, how dare you not see this movie in the theater? It's like, man, shit's expensive, okay?
Yeah.
Shit's expensive, all right? I mean, I'll see Mad Max 5, but I'm not making it a priority. I got other shit to do. But yeah, let's go through some of these super chats before we do our last two things here. Here we go. Scott Kincaid for $1.99. Tony, have you tried the Godzilla DLC in Gigabash? I've never played Gigabash. I know about it. I want to buy it and play the Godzilla DLC, but I don't have a lot of time, so I haven't done it yet. We have Fior here. Tony is a bobblehead who is embarrassed of his female co-host. That's why he won't give us Girls Month. Son of a bitch. Doug, I gotta have you on for Boys Month. You know what Boys Month is, Doug?
Is it where you bobble your head like this because you're a bobblehead? I don't know.
No, last year I got, for some reason, it was really wrong for me to say I enjoyed Barbie. I didn't even praise that much. I said I liked it. I got a lot of negative comments. And then
if you like it or dislike it, you're wrong.
Then I accidentally saw on my calendar that all my episodes were a male co-host, and instead of fixing it, I made it seem like it was intentional. I'm like, you guys were right. I kicked all the girls off on the channel. That was Boys Month. Hey, Doug, it was my lowest performing month last month, so I don't know what people want. So yeah, we're doing that in August. We're doing it again because I've learned nothing. Rob K for $5. Tony, did you see the Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket?
Yep.
Will you be using it more than the Dune popcorn bucket? Wink, wink. Doug, do you know about the Dune popcorn bucket?
No, I'm looking it up right now because
you missed this entire phenomenon.
I've had a lot of fun with it.
Right over there, Doug.
Oh, that's
Dude,
beautiful.
Saturday Night Live did a music video about it. They did a video when they were doing press.
Well, no, the Dune one I know. I was looking at the Deadpool
okay.
one. And,
I was about to say, I'm like, how did you miss that? I bought the popcorn bucket. My Valentine's Day was me eating popcorn out of the Dune bucket, watching Madam Web, and then I took the bucket to my local bar. And I took a selfie with it. And then my friend, who's now on the channel, walked in. She went, "What the fuck is that?" The best part is the bartender thought I had an urn. And I'm like, yeah, it's a really sad Valentine's Day for me. I brought my dead wife. Lenny Laserdisc. Tony, did you kidnap Doug? Either way, what a treat.
They're treating me fine. Just blink, torture. There we go.
I don't want to watch tarot. You're watching tarot.
I don't want to be manly. You're going to be manly.
Movie Buff 3000 for $2. Doug Walker, I love your Tommy Knockers review.
Thank you.
And now we have the Psycho Jet Black chain of super chats, which I'm starting to love. Doug, talk about how the original Roadhouse was. How great the original Roadhouse was. Keep it brief, Doug, because we talk about this a lot on this channel.
It's great. The house, the road, it all came together.
Roadhouse is the greatest film ever made, Doug. That's what you say when people ask you that.
Oh, I said it was great.
When they ask you if you're a god, you say yes. When they ask you about Roadhouse, you say it's the greatest.
It's the greatest coming together of house and road. So,
Psycho Jet Black, JoeyC, talk about how much you love Grimace.
Grimace has watched me do some questionable things.
He used to be able to move.
No. Me and Grimace are real close.
Is he wielding the chainsaw, or is that you threatening him with the chainsaw?
No, that's him threatening me with the chainsaw.
Wait,
it's like, I can get it anytime I want. It's right there.
He really does look like he's pointing. JoeyC, you were looking up the price on that Grimace, right? How much is that selling for?
$20,000. I'm not kidding. Look it up. Yeah.
How much did you pay for yours, JoeyC?
I stole it. I got it. I stole it. I just can't control these arms, Tony. They just snatch things. Good Lord.
Here we go. Psycho Jet Black. Gil, why did you delete Castzilla? Do you hate Tony? Why did you get rid of my Godzilla podcast, Gil?
It'll go right back up as soon as I get the invite to be in person in that studio instead of relegated to these live streams.
We already picked the subject. I just got to find a time on the calendar. Here we go. Tony, back to the movies. Did you pay your taxes? Yes.
Next question.
Yes, I did pay my taxes. Patreon.com/hackthemovie. Oh my God. Wait, you asked me that question? You only did $2? Patreon.com/hackthemovies. Oh God.
He's got to pay more depending on what the answer is.
Yeah. What? No CG
in Fury Road.
Oh, no CG in Fury Road. They really ripped off Joe's jaw. Oh, Morton Joe, they ripped his jaw off. No.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I thought Joe's jaw was like another movie or something.
That's the next prequel.
Yes.
Let me see. Is Madam Web more funny than Catwoman? It's overtime. Oh, is that from that horrible basketball scene in Catwoman?
Probably.
That's a reference to that.
I think it is. Catwoman's pretty crazy, but it's also a little dull to me at the time. Madam Web was just constantly entertaining for me.
I think we said in our review, like, Madam Web's adorable. They really thought they were making a movie. And there she is. There she is. Crystal Quinn for $4.99. Thank God Doug is in the chat, making the show better. JoeyC and Gil are cool too. Okay. Back to drinking. When you read this, I'll be gone. # fuck you, Tony.
Can feel the love, man. And it's Gilly. It's Gilly.
Sorry, Gilly. Doug, I see you with like your co-hosts and stuff. It looks like you guys get along and they're like really nice to you. How do you do it?
Oh, good. It's a lot of good acting. We actually hate each other all the time. But yeah.
You hear that? Get better at acting, guys.
I love the hashtag.
What a jerk. 47 cartoon guy. Hey Tony, any future episodes with Joe and Sean together coming soon? I love seeing you on Smiling Friends, Doug.
Oh, thank you. That was Daniel, though. He looks a lot like
Daniel the Demon
kind of
Slayer.
stealing my shtick, yeah.
Actually, that's a good point. I was messaging Joe today because me and him are going to be at VHS Fest this summer at the Mahoning Drive-In. I actually booked a couple events at the Mahoning Drive-In, and I forgot to put them on my slideshow, so I don't know when they are. July and August, I will be there. And then our last one, before we get back into it, for Doug. How many footage is... All right, Michael for 499. I think you meant to say how much footage is there left of Daniel the Demon Slayer and Smiling Friends. Also, what do you think of Seed of Chucky, including the show?
I don't think I saw... I only saw up to, I think, Bride of Chucky. I didn't see beyond that. I haven't seen the show either, sadly. I did a little improv and stuff like that, just because they said if you want to, go ahead and add some stuff and everything. But there is one version where I do the Oni plays imitation. Hello, I'm Daniel the Demon Slayer. So I'm hoping they'll release that somewhere.
Speaking of improv, I just remember whenever I think of improv, I think of when I worked on that TV show and we had Gilbert Godfrey. We were teaching Gilbert Godfrey how to fish. The show was for CMT, which is like a more family-oriented channel, and he was saying so many things. And as we're filming it, we're like, none of this is making it to air. Someone's really got to tell it. I'm like, all of this is hilarious. None of these jokes will be on cable television ever. Okay, back at it. Next up, this will be a short one.
Been there.
Star Wars, Tales of the Empire. Okay, so I haven't checked in on Star Wars in a little bit. Doug, I'll catch you up with my take on Star Wars. I was excited when Disney got the property because George Lucas had ruined it. People like to argue with me on that. Like, George Lucas didn't ruin it. And I'm like, yeah, he made the Force bacteria. Don't get me wrong. When I was a teenager, I thought it was great. And then I got older. I'm like, wait, none of this makes sense and it sucks. So Force Awakens was fine. Rogue One was boring. Last Jedi had some good ideas. I didn't really love it. I didn't hate it as much as some people. Rise of Skywalker was like a joke. Solo was a mess. The only animated show I watched from Disney was Rebels, which I loved.
You gotta do Clone Wars, man. You're gonna love Clone Wars.
I loved Rebels so much that I went back to Clone Wars, and Clone Wars does the impossible of telling compelling stories in a garbage prequel timeline. The only problem with Clone Wars is that it's bookended by two terrible films. So then people were telling me that Mandalorian is great. Mandalorian's going to save Star Wars. And then I watched Mandalorian and I went, you're all wrong. This is terrible. Doug, I thought I was getting a bounty hunting show. I got a babysitting show about how they got to keep a baby safe.
A bounty sitting, thank you.
Yeah, and I went, why are you guys pretending this is like it's like when you get out of a bad relationship and you jump into a also bad relationship, but you're so blinded. I'm like, no, guys, this is also bad. I don't know how you don't realize this. And I was justified this year when I hopped on Twitter and I saw people complaining about Lizzo and Jack Black playing tennis with Baby Yoda. And I went, wow, it was like I was right. It was like I was right the whole time. I watched Book of Boba Fett, boring. And I watched Obi-Wan, which was abysmal. So I haven't watched Star Wars since. People said Andor was the greatest.
I was going to say, you're missing like the one really great one.
Look, Doug, look, I gave them 3 shots. I'm sorry. And like the Ahsoka show, I'm like, well, all the characters I like from Rebels are in that. But I'm not going to risk suddenly hating those characters, so I'm going to leave that show alone.
Tony, you only hate some of them.
Okay, good. So I saw there was this Tales of the Empire. Apparently it's a companion to this Tales of the Jedi show they did, and I decided to check it out. Okay, so for Tales of the Empire, of the first 3 episodes, only 1 episode is set during the Empire, so I was super confused because it started with the Clone Wars and it ended in the New Republic, and I'm like, why is this called Tales of the Empire? But they did the worst thing ever. The first 3 episodes of the show are garbage. But now I now know the backstory of the mean lady from Mandalorian season 2. I know we were all losing sleep of not knowing the backstory of the girl Ahsoka fights in Mandalorian season 2, and now we know it. However, the last 3 episodes were actually solid and told like a pretty good story of this Jedi that turned on the Jedi, and now she's with the Inquisitors. But she has to she realizes she's on the wrong team. And that was actually pretty compelling and interesting. And we also get the backstory of whoever this lady was in Obi-Wan. I don't remember this character.
I didn't know she was from that either.
Apparently,
I totally
she was in
forgot about
Obi-Wan.
that.
I had no idea. And guys, if you're wondering if Darth Vader is in this, yes, he's in it. He sits in a chair. Did anyone watch this? Did anyone watch Tales of the Empire?
I did.
I watched one.
Yep.
Okay, what did you think of it, Doug?
I watched them all. I actually liked it.
The second story.
I like the first three too, but again, I think I didn't even know that lady was from I always forget the name of the planet that Darth Maul is from. Den of Fear, Den of Balls. I don't know.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But I love that world. So again, I'm kind of like with Furiosa with this. I just love that world so much, and anything from that world, I'm gonna be a little biased. Because I wasn't that blown away with how they've used Thrawn in Rebels, or I guess he was okay in whatchamacallit?
Ahsoka?
Ahsoka, thank you.
Yeah.
I like seeing him being a little bit more I don't know. He had a real presence in this, even though it was just for a little bit. And I like the atmosphere of it. My only issue is that, with the exception of the last three, where that does amount to something, I didn't feel the story with the lady in the first three. I was invested, but didn't seem to really go anywhere. That was really interesting. Yeah. And the only other thing that bothered me about it, because I did like the atmosphere, I was really hooked in. I liked knowing what these characters that I kind of forgot about were even characters, honestly. I want to know what happened to them. And it's so rare I say this. I don't know why it was animated. I don't know what justified it being animated, because it didn't look that great. There wasn't a ton of action, and when there was, it kind of went on too long, and I think that shows it's not very good action. The colors were all very kind of bland and kind of
could have been
foggy.
Live action. Yeah, it could have been live action.
Yeah, or you could have made it just more visually dazzling to see. With that said, I do like the time it took. I liked the ideas it was playing around with. I like the idea of seeing how some of these people become inquisitors and stuff, and just that interesting point of, okay, once the Empire is born, well, what happened then? How did this transition kind of happen? It's such a kind of creepy transition to me. So I didn't mind seeing all that. And I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm not going to say it's one of the best things. I never did see all of Tales of the Jedi either. Yeah,
I might go back and check that out to see if there's anything.
I heard it's really good. A friend of mine saw it, and because I said, "What you think of Tales of the Empire?" and she's like, it was all right, but I'm going to compare it to Tales of the Jedi, which is great. So maybe I should go back and see that too.
All right, JoeyC, as someone who never watched Star Wars until a year ago, how did you feel about whatever you watched of this?
Well, as you know, I don't know shit about Star Wars, but I was the lead reviewer for a company I'm not going to mention for Obi-Wan, went to the premiere.
Why? You've shit on them so much in the past. To the point I advised you not to shit on them. Why are you suddenly...
See, now I'm afraid because you warned me. I'm afraid.
Did you finally get a talking to? What the...
Darth Vader is literally looking at him.
If you know the company that I'm talking about, it's the worst company ever. Anyhow, so I was super excited for another Star Wars show, even though I don't know shit. But I liked how short and easy it was to watch. Doug, you mentioned the animation. I thought kind of that cheesy, bad animation gave it a little charm. Kind of brought me back to being a kid a little bit. I did like some of the lightsaber fights. That was pretty cool. I think even for casual fans like myself, this was it was a pretty easy watch. It was something to put in the background. Also, that company sucks. So,
were you thrilled when Darth Vader sat in the chair and just breathed?
Oh, it was really great. It was like watching Steven Seagal or something.
Gil, how did you feel? Sorry, Gilly, how did you feel about Tales of the Empire?
I watched one episode, just the first one, and I do agree with Joey. I liked that it was short, and I just didn't really like it. I mean, it sort of just dropped you right into the middle of an action sequence with no building tension, no building stakes, curiosity, or anything about these characters. It did send me into a little bit of a philosophical introspection in my mind, because I did watch a girl see her entire clan killed. And I was like, even without character development, I should still feel something like that sucks. So the theory I came up with is that, okay, in lieu of character development, if you don't get connected to a character, then you at least need the world to feel kind of real and grounded. And then you get automatic human empathy. But of course, this is animated, and I don't think it was that great animation. Like sometimes the walking looks sort of floaty and stuff. Then you're in like a high sci-fi fantasy realm, so there's a few hurdles between you and this feeling grounded. So with all those steps removed, I feel like character development is even more important. It doesn't even attempt it, and there's just a lot crammed into 16 minutes. There's like multiple tragedies occur. You have a character who ends up on like a dark path. I think it's trying to explain how she ends up, on the wrong side of the Jedi. So a lot crammed into 16 minutes. It was as engaging as reading a bulleted list on Wikipedia of like plot points of like explaining who this character is.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. Which is rare for Star Wars these days. Usually I'm just like, and by the way, I'm not one of those guys that goes in trying to hate Star Wars. I genuinely gave this stuff a shot, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, you know what? I just kind of really like the 3 movies, and I have the despecialized editions, but most people can't even watch the real versions of those original films, which is a bummer. That sucks. That's a bunch of people. There's been like 20 years now of people watching Star Wars for the first time, and they're seeing that stupid dance number, Return of the Jedi. And I
or if they're watching in the wrong order too, if they watch the prequels first, and then like they're not gonna get the big surprise of Darth Vader and stuff like that.
You're not supposed to watch them in order because the prequels are they constantly do the remember this.
Yeah,
look, R2-D2 was Princess Leia's mom's robot. Isn't that cool? And you're like, no. Like I kind of didn't care what R2-D2. That's the thing with all these prequels. I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I just didn't care about a lot of these people's origin stories. They were like Han Solo's origin story. I'm like, no, I saw it. It was called Star Wars. I saw it. That's where he was important, and that was like the beginning of his journey. Real quick, before we move on, I know this isn't a super chat, but this is one of our regulars, Doug, Adam. And he's got kind of a big head here. I'm packing up my house, but wanted to check in and see how my family is doing. It looks like Tony couldn't find anyone to fill my slot. Too bad. Oh, well, this Doug guy seems all right. Everyone unsubscribe from Adam.
I'll subscribe. He says Dougie's all right. I think he's all right.
Adam Does Movies is a very fun channel, even though he refuses to do this show because he hates JoeyC. I mean, or at least that's the excuse I made. Here we go. Finally, X-Men 97. I thought, okay, I went into this with low expectations. I was like, it's probably going to suck, but I'll check it out. And I did the homework, guys. I binged all 5 seasons of the original series leading up to this.
Last season's great, isn't it?
You know what's funny? The last season starts off not too terrible. I actually posted like a video of Forge's mustache disappearing. But then I think 2 or 3 episodes in, then that's when the animation gets really bad. They don't even look like how they're supposed to anymore. So yeah, I went in, I was all caught up, and I'm like, let's see how they ruin it. But I didn't want it to fail. I wasn't one of those guys going around and be like, don't watch it. I heard they're going to do this. They're going to do this. I watched this series. Guys, this must be the greatest X-Men thing I've seen in a very long time. Probably the best Marvel thing I've seen since pre-Endgame. I kind of love this goddamn series. It was friggin' awesome. Just a little bit of the plot here. It picks up right where the last one left off. Well, it skips ahead a few months. So Professor X is in space getting healed. And in that time, we find out that Magneto is now the leader of the X-Men, which was in the Professor's will. And so that's one storyline. We find out that Jean Grey at some point got switched with another girl, a clone, the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, and that's Cable's mother. And she's got weird dream powers. That was cool. Storm gets her powers taken away, and her and Forge fight an owl or something. I don't know. That one kind of was struggling to hold my interest. We found out Mojo lost weight, and you know what? Thank God. He gives me hope. I'm on my own weight loss journey. I'm like, if Mojo can do it, I can do it. I can do it.
And he looks great.
It turns out Magneto and Rogue boned in the past. They kept that on the DL, and Gambit finds out about it. Professor X, he's hanging out with his space girlfriend. He's got to choose between becoming the Emperor of Space. That's probably not the real title, or going back to Earth. Then Genosha gets utterly and completely destroyed by a giant 3-headed sentinel, and the whole time Wolverine's there. Doug, what did you think of X-Men 97?
It was all right. No, I loved it.
Okay.
I loved the. I mean, look at this, man. I came to represent. No, I loved the hell out of it. I was excited going into this because the original creators, I had them on the show, and they were telling me about this show, and they said, you know, you're always thinking, they're gonna say, they want to do their own thing, blah blah blah, and they said, no, they run everything by us. Everyone that works on the show has to be an X-Men fan, has to have seen all of the original show. And even though they're not, you know, they're not directing it or anything, they say they run, would you do this? Is this the road you would take? We want to change this up. Is that okay? I mean, they just ran everything by these people. And I think that's why it still feels like it's in that same world, but it is evolved. They do make it, you know, definitely more aggressive. I mean, some of the imagery in this is downright nightmarish. Like, I love the original X-Men show, but I didn't ever end an episode shouting "Christ" at the end of it. Like,
which got out. The Fox kids kind of limited what they could do back then. They're a little bit more free on Disney Plus.
But that's what's so weird on Disney. Yeah, that they would let that be more free. And I think what I like about the show is they up it, but it still keeps in connection to the original spirit, because something they said that was a big difference between them and Batman the Animated Series is that in X-Men they tried to squeeze in a lot more information, just constant information thrown at you, which you think wouldn't be good, but they always used it to push either something about character or move the story forward all the time. And that's what they keep to in this. And that's part of the charm of comic books. Like, I really felt like I was just reading a comic book, like, come to life, reading this while still, you know, reliving the glory days of like that X-Men cartoon and kind of the 90s and stuff like that. Like, I'm not kidding. After the first 2 episodes, I went, I couldn't wait every week for the next episode. I can't remember the last show where it's like, I cannot wait for the next one. And every single Wednesday when it came on, I went and I got a bowl of cereal and milk. What is it? Crunch Berries. That's what I always had. And it just felt so good watching this, hearing that theme song, and just being like, man, I am excited to see what is going to happen next. And it's that same childlike wonder, but because they know the audience grew up, they make that excitement and that suspense there for adults as well. Like, as an adult, you're invested and you're afraid of what's going to happen, and the suspense is there. And I thought that is such a tricky thing to balance out. But I thought they did it so well. And any complaints I have about are very, very minor. I think everyone's going to have some issues with it. But, I was really blown away by how well put together this was.
Yes. Before we go to JoeyC, sorry, we have someone sabotaging the stream. I guess the chat wasn't enough. Yes, Adam, what did you think of X-Men?
Okay, I just wanted 2 minutes because you have Doug Walker on, and I've been a fan of Doug since he was on Channel Awesome exclusively and nothing more. So I just want to say hi to Doug. You're awesome, man.
It's Daniel now.
It was the first show I ever watched on the internet. Big lip alligator moment. I was frozen today. Like, I remember all the quotes like it was yesterday. So I just want to say hi, and I appreciate all the content you put out over the years.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, and I am aware of who you are. So thank you.
I mean, I'm in the middle of packing, so I look very disheveled, and I apologize. This is all
you look very manly. That's the theme of the show. The only thing is, you have to have a Y at the end of your name. We decided. We're calling Gil Gilly. Atomy. There we go.
Atomy. Yeah. I don't actually like that, Doug, but that's okay.
Okay. That's okay. I've fallen off the radar, man. I've lost my touch. Don't worry.
That's the rest of Adam's night now. He's going to be like, I shouldn't have said that to him. I should have said it.
All respect is out the window at this point. No, I just wanted to say thanks for all the content. I'll leave you guys be now. It's a mess here, so I just wanted to say hi really quick.
Oh, God, thank you so much. That's really nice of you.
Later.
Take it.
Any other co-hosts want to come on and fanboy out? Feel free. I guess just jump in there, I guess. What the hell?
Tony, you're amazing. I've been watching your content for years.
There you go.
You know, I'm going to get him on season 3 of Smiling Friends, because we're like this, man. We're like this.
You know what? If Crystal was smart, she would have caught on his cell phone instead of spending money to shit on it. JoeyC, what did you think of X-Men 97? Did you grow up with the X-Men cartoon?
More importantly, what do you think of me? No.
Yes. Doug, you're very handsome. I'd love to
Thank you. Manly.
rub your
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
Anyhow, I wasn't always a big manly man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't always this manly. I was once a small, well, I'm still small, but I was once a smaller kid. We used to watch this religiously, so I was really looking forward to it. I'm a pretty casual X-Men fan, man. That's a tongue twister. Even though this is a continuation, I didn't remember jack shit from the original show. So that was kind of a bummer because I felt like the lore was a bit convoluted, but it's my own fault. The voiceovers was fucking awesome. The action was awesome. The animation style brought me back to the 90s, man. This was great. And plus, Nightcrawler was fucking kick-ass, man.
Oh, dude, when Wolverine is fighting those, like, zombie sentinels, and he stabs the guy as Nightcrawler's teleporting, and he's still stabbing him through that, like, teleportation realm, I'm like, that's the coolest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, it's fucking classic shit, man.
Real quick, Joey, so you're right. They don't really explain a lot of the lore. I think that's intentional because they want people like you who are jumping into this going, wait, was that a character in the original show? Did that happen in the original show? And then they go, where can I watch the original show? Oh, on the app that I currently have. Let me go back and now binge all 5 seasons of that. So I think that was strategic, them not really explaining too much.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In comics, they would do the footnote where it's like, see issue, you know.
Bob.
Yeah. Oh God. Fucking. The Marvel movies are gonna have to start doing that soon. They're just like, you should have watched this episode of Miss Marvel or whatever.
If only somebody would make a recap of all that stuff.
Actually, Gil, you do that.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? The next Marvel movie that I see in theaters. I mean, I'm probably not going to see a Marvel movie in theaters. I'll probably wait until it hits streaming and then wait 4 months after that. I want like a character to come on and be like, to know what this is, subscribe to One Take on YouTube and watch this video. Doug, if you don't know, Gil did a whole cohesive timeline of the entire MCU and several other films, including the MonsterVerse, which I helped with before my Godzilla channel got deleted. But anyway, Gil, how did you feel about X-Men 97?
I liked it. I didn't grow up on the original series, so I was a lot of points where I was like, they really did that in a kids show, like Magneto and Rogue, and I don't know. But I was really impressed, especially with the first episode, the way they were able to balance that many different characters in the span of 30 minutes and give each one a unique personality, and with a few lines, you can get to know where each one of them is coming from. So anytime something crazy happens, you immediately get 12 different reactions and perspectives on it. But I do think at 30 minutes, some of the episodes felt very fast. I think especially episode 3, I think it was, when you get into all of the Jean clone drama, it all happens so quickly. And almost like a love triangle between Cyclops and the 2 Jeans, like that stuff, I would have loved to spend more time. And I've seen people describe the show as soap opera-ish, and I love melodrama, and I think a lot of it worked. But when you move through things so quickly and you're just skipping to the high emotion moments, I think that's when it feels very soap opera-ish. But there were also episodes that I loved. I think somebody in the chat called out episode 5, but when that all goes down in Genosha, it does that thing where everyone's happy, everyone's dancing, and then you just hear someone in the background like, turn off the music, stop. And it's that unsettling feeling of like, what the hell is going on? It was so emotional.
Did you happen to see my tweet? Sorry, X post. Did you see my X post about it?
Especially
no, I didn't see it.
I posted a picture of Nightcrawler hugging Gambit and Rogue, and I went, after binge watching the original X-Men series, I'm now making my way through X-Men 97. Just started the Genosha episode. Can't wait to see what wacky adventures Nightcrawler go on. I'm sure it'll leave me with another smile on my face. And then the follow-up to that, I retweeted it, and it's George Michael with his head down and the rest of development walking all the first 4 episodes, they get a little heavy with like Cyclops having to give his son up to like, because he's got that virus, they got to send him to the future to cure it. But they were mostly like kind of in tone with what would have been on the original show.
That's
like,
or in a comic book. I think that's the biggie.
And, although apparently what happened in that episode is from a comic, I learned. A lot of these storylines are from comics. But yeah, so like, you know, I think the Mojo episode is the one right before Genosha, maybe. Or maybe it was the Storm episode with the owl.
It was both. I think they did both there. Yeah. I gotta point out, by the way, my brother. Two things my brother said about this show, and I think they're really good points. One is that he said with the Mojo episode, again, without giving away too much, he said, "Wouldn't that have been better if that was Magneto setting that all up in the Danger Room, and that was like Jubilee's present, her birthday present, and it's like the present is like still this test that's gonna like risk your life." And I'm like, that would have been really good.
I like that.
Yeah, but one other thing he pointed out is that he said, do you realize like one season of this show, this X-Men show, would have been like 3 seasons of any other Disney Marvel show, live action. Yeah. And I thought that's such a good point that shows really, even though sometimes they do cram in too much, how much they do efficiently still make you care while you're having all this information thrown at you.
Yeah, but the Genosha episodes where things like take a hard pivot. But then, even then, it's not like it's all doom and gloom. They still work in, like, you know, one-liners. They work in the humor. They work in, like, the cheesy dialogue when it's appropriate. They know when to go really deep and real heavy and then, like, really, really light. I enjoyed all of it. I love what they did with Wolverine at the end, because everyone, I think, has read... I think, like, in the 90s, some kid had that comic where that happened to Wolverine, what Magneto did to him. So to finally see that in animated form, which would have never been in the Fox Kids one.
No.
So I'm like, oh, I'm glad they could do little stuff like that now. It was a lot of fun. But like, I've been going through the X-Men movies. We've been reviewing them on the channel. This week we put out X-Men First Class. So I'm in like we're going all in on X-Men this year because Wolverine's coming back. Who would have ever thought Jackman would unretire? So like this was perfect for me. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like I just rewatched the show. Let me go into this. And it made me like super nostalgic. I don't know if anyone on this panel ever gets nostalgic over anything. But this one made me really nostalgic. And I'm like, I kind of want them to do more. Spider-Man, the cartoon Spider-Man ended on a cliffhanger. So I kind of want a Spider-Man.
Well, which one? The 90s one or Spectacular?
No, the 90s one. Remember Mary Jane? Like,
see, I want Spectacular Spider-Man, man. That's the one I want them to do. Well, next. I mean, there's still like 3 seasons they were supposed to do.
If they were smart, they would do Spider-Man because that was like the second biggest, and then they could do like X-Men Evolution never got around to doing Dark Phoenix or anything.
That's true. Yeah. There's a lot of those movies.
So they could do other ones like, hey, we're doing like these one-off seasons to close the story. Although I think they have more planned for this, but those other ones, I think it'd be smart to kind of like finish them in a season.
And you know, in the 90s, there were 2 Sonic shows. I think we can have X-Men 97, X-Men Evolution, Spider-Man 90 whatever, and Spectacular Spider-Man. Let's do 2 at the same time. I think that'd be awesome.
And let's bring Silver Surfer back. I used to love that cartoon.
I mean, with all the cameos in this, it did make me really love the idea of like a side Marvel universe with just interconnected shows. Like Spider-Man, Captain America, Avengers, like that would be awesome.
Oh, speaking of people who clearly didn't rewatch the original, there were people complaining about the cameos. There's just people who just like to shit on Disney and Marvel, which is fine. I do it too. But their new thing is to hate on multiverses because it's been done poorly lately. But so now they think the whole like concept is terrible and it's just for cameos. So people were sharing the cameos in that episode. They're like, oh, just pandering, whatever. Like, no, watch the original like Marvel cartoons of the 90s. There were cameos constantly. Black Panther there's one episode where they were in Africa and they show Black Panther on a hill looking at a spaceship go off or something.
Yeah, I thought it was clever. They did it at the end too, because that's what the original show did. Was when something big was going on that every Marvel character had to turn. And real quick, with the original, they couldn't call them Captain America and stuff like that because they technically didn't have the right. So it's like, you know, American Soldier or something like that. Like they would always call him something different in the credits.
Yeah. I was looking at a video that was like all the cameos in Marvel cartoons. And there's one where the X-Men have a cameo in a Fantastic Four episode, but like the animation was so shitty that Wolverine's shirt literally changes as he's turning around to look up at the sky. Look, I love those like Spider-Man and X-Men. God damn, the animation could have been really rough at times. They were on a budget. I'm excited to see where this goes. This really made me really happy. This is one of the few things that I'm probably going to watch again. I rarely rewatch modern TV shows. I think the last one I did was Twisted Metal. Me and JoeyC reviewed that. The Twisted Metal show was awesome. I don't know if you got to see that.
So good.
I heard it's really good, yeah.
If you grew up playing that game, give that show a chance. It's a good time. But yeah, I guess any final thoughts on X-Men 97? Go down the list here. Go down the line.
Man, it's one of those where it's one of the rare shows where there's so much to talk about. You almost kind of go blank, like you just kind of want to talk about like everything about it. I don't know. Just if you're okay, I'll say this: did anyone here not watch the original show, like not see it? Gilly, did you see it? Okay, and you still got into it then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's real proof right there that there's something really special here, because that was my assumption, is that, man, you're going to have to have seen the original show to follow it, though. So I think the fact that fans of the original love it and the newcomers can get into it, too, I think is a real sign that they have something fantastic here.
Yeah. Joey, any last thoughts?
You know how last year, Tony, you shaved your head, right?
Yeah.
This year, you're going to grow your hair out like Wolverine.
Oh, no. I got to send you a picture later. Don't worry. We're doing a What is the Best Wolverine episode this year. I got something special planned for it. In development. Actually, my hair will occasionally, when it's long, will do the Wolverine thing, but it doesn't stay like that. Like, I can get it to stay up for a little bit, and then as soon as I go outside, the heat hits, and it just, like, falls down.
You gotta look like a DJ when that happens.
Gil, final thoughts.
Anytime the theme song kicked in during an action sequence when they're all working together, worked so well.
Yeah.
So
that happened in the old show too. That whenever the team was fighting, they're like, "Gotta hit the X-Men theme."
Yeah.
All I ask for the next season is like, can we give Wolverine something better than he just really loves Jean? Because I feel like audiences all over who've watched the movie, I think we get it. He loves Jean. We fucking get it. We don't care anymore. Can you give him a new girlfriend at least to simp over? Because I feel like he didn't really have much to do on his own, which I guess is nice because all the films went so heavy on Wolverine. I get
agree.
that, but it would have been nice to have like something for him. Like in the old show, he was always sad about Morph, but now Morph is there, so he's not sad about that anymore. Now he's like, man, although I did like that there's now 2 Jean Greys, but then they killed one of them. He's like, oh, my backup Jean died.
It is a little weird he didn't kind of just be like, oh, well, there's 2. I mean, opportunities.
Fate gave me a second Jean, so I don't have to cuck my friend Cyclops. This is great. Oh, she's dead. And also with Gambit. I felt so bad for Gambit. Spoilers.
He's coming back. It's funny because you're talking about some episodes that had too much info going. That episode that everybody loved, that is the one for me. I'm like, yeah, I feel the emotion, but I feel like there's too many things going on here. Where when it got there, I'm like, he's not dead.
But I was watching it. I was just like, look, you could either have his girlfriend cheat on him or kill him. You can't do both. That's really mean.
Yeah.
That's really mean. Like, come on. Get the guy a break. All right, that's it for the reviews. Let's read some of our super chats here. And then we'll do, after super chats, Doug, if you don't have time, you can bounce and we'll do our voicemails and whatnot. But if you have time, feel free to stick around.
I think I got some time, yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Limp Wang for $1.99. That's a great name, guys. Snuck beers in an empty theater for Furiosa. You know, I love getting your guys' money, but I'm glad that you're like, I need Tony and all of them to know that you're admitting to a crime. Also, you're spelling theater the fancy way.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Movie Buff 3000 for $2. Dr. Gonzo, ABGN. That's right, I was Dr. Gonzo. And Ralph Puke, Together at Last. Oh, right. Was that your character? From,
yes, that's true. Yes, absolutely. Actually, I don't think it's the thing now, but for a while on IMDb, they had like all the people that played Raul Duke. And for a while, it was like Bill Murray, Johnny Depp, and me. And that was like the coolest goddamn thing for a couple years. Like, I was one of 3 that played that character. Now I'm sure that James is probably out there too. But yeah, that was pretty cool for a while.
I think that was like the last time I was on screen for Cinemasker was the Raul Duke, the Dr. Gonzo character.
Yeah.
What a way for me to go. I was like, here we go. I did it. Bye.
There goes one of God's own prototypes.
Too weird to die. Too crazy to live. Sage D for $20 to sort of help with the taxes. Also, how would you survive a Mad Max style apocalypse? I don't know if I would survive.
Oh, I would totally be someone's sex slave. I wouldn't be able to survive at all. I'd just be like, okay, wherever you want me, just put me there. I'll suck wherever you want to suck, man. I can't go out there. I can't live out there. They kill me.
I do both. I just hang out.
Yeah, JoeyC will be in a room with someone. They'll be like, "It's a shame that we're sex slaves during the apocalypse," and Joey would be like, "There's an apocalypse? Like, no, I am playing for this job." Like, wait, what?
Lucky
Like,
for
you
me, they
guys
still
don't
have
like
they still have recappers. I would just switch to History Man.
would be
You just write it all over you.
Yeah.
This
Anybody
is the
wants
Marvel
the
Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe tattooed all over your body. Okay. Daniel Fall for $2. Doug, how manly would you rate Gilly? He didn't say Gilly. Tony and Joey. On a manliness scale of 1 to 10, what are we getting?
Man.
Oh,
I was so happy for the last one.
Joey, he got the manliest. You know what? I guess my bullying is paying off, Joey. I don't think
It's
so.
like the grimace is just so constantly impressed in the background. It's hard not to get that impression.
I love the picture I posted. Freaking Jerry Seinfeld apparently in an interview was like, "We need more traditional masculinity and masculine characters." And I posted the picture of me and Joey holding 3-pound weights in the gym. Like, we're just the guys to lead this movement. We're gonna do it. Adam, all right. So he called in to say this after spending $10. It wasn't enough. This is for Doug, the Nostalgia Critics, one of the first internet shows I ever watched regularly. Absolutely brilliant take on film criticism. I was frozen today. Joe Panaccio for $10. Right, you're already
Thanks, Adam. Anyhow.
You make my ego bigger, man. Come on. More Adam Jones movies.
Adam, if you're watching this later, please clip Doug saying Adam does movies. I want his next video to be like, "Hi, I'm Adam from," and then it's you going, "Adam does movies."
He's doing me. I'm just preparing for the apocalypse.
Joe Panaccio for $10. The emotion, violence, and storylines are what we are looking for from an X-Men series. I love this. I think Disney should take note and allow more properties to be this way.
And again, they listen to the original people. I've seen so many. I mean, I guess we've seen like legacy movies and shows where some of the creators come back. It's not always that great, but I don't know. I look at like George Miller and I look at what they're doing with the X-Men creators and stuff. I'm like, I'm with them. Like try to lean more towards what they want, just not George Lucas.
The other one I liked was the Evil Dead TV show. I'm like, this feels like a pretty good continuation. The good thing with Mad Max and Evil Dead, the continuity is already pretty bad, so you kind of can do whatever you want. There's no like strict continuity. Okay. Anthony Hudak for $5 says, "Hope this show's success will bring back other superhero shows like the 90s Spider-Man, 90s Hulk." I love the 90s Hulk, except for the second season. She-Hulk was great in the first season, and then the second season they made her a bigger character and made her like the wacky one, and it ruined that show. She was like written completely different, but the first season of that show was great. Or even influenced WB to bring back the OG Teen Titans. They might. By the way, this concept worked in comic book form. They did Batman 66. I think it was Wonder Woman 77. They did an X-Men 92 comic, so this concept has worked back in the comic form. It'd be interesting to see if they bring it into like the whole animated series realm. Psycho Jet Black for $2. Doug, do you still hate the movie Independence Day?
I only hate you more. No, it never did much for me, man. I didn't grow up with it either. I think I was a teen, and I think I was just and a cynical teen too. So I just think I don't think I was the audience for it. I do understand. If I was a kid growing up with it, I would love the shit out of that movie. Yeah. But I think because I was just a cynical, movie snob teen and stuff, it's not for me.
I hate those guys who are real snobby about cinema. They're the worst, if you ask me. I will say, Independence Day, I have a soft spot for, even though it is pretty stupid. However, Independence Day 2 is that movie makes me like upset at how bad it is.
Not a classic.
Psycho Jet Black. Why did the MCU Inhuman show fail so hard? I never actually physically watched it. I just heard that I remember they did the premiere in IMAX. It was like a special thing.
Oh, that's right. And even when that was announced, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, and then everyone went, wow, that show's gonna suck. No one watch it, and then no one watch it. But it is funny that like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show was setting up Inhumans to replace mutants throughout all the movies, and then they got mutants back, and now you never hear anything about Inhumans.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know. I forgot it was a show. Honestly, yeah. So I don't know.
Well, if you want to know about it, go to hour 3 and Gilly's video. You'll learn all about Inhumans.
Can't wait for all the comments about how you didn't include the TV shows in this.
Mag for $4.99. Love both the original and follow-up to X-Men the Animated Series. Can't wait for more. P.S. Curious if they'll make Deadpool before he becomes self-aware. Oh, like because Deadpool was never in the original animated series. He had a cameo. Morph turned into him.
Oh, he turns into him once, for a second.
Like, will he be like the original Deadpool that was just like generic mercenary guy, or will he be the fourth wall breaking Deadpool? That'd be
that's a good point. Yeah, what would they do with that? Huh?
Yeah. Apocalypse revives Madeline. I got you, Logan. Oh, okay. So Apocalypse is going to bring Madeline back, and I guess Logan will get his girlfriend. Sage G for $10 says, speaking of, Gambit died Cajun style.
Crispy? I don't know.
I guess so.
That just makes me hungry.
None of us are Cajun, so I'm typing in Cajun style, and maybe I should have safe search on.
That Cajun food is pretty good. So I mean, like,
I'm sorry.
I got it.
Crispy and spicy.
I know, Joe. I thought we were moderating the chats here. I just want to slip through.
Wait, what happened?
Tony's still laughing at the last joke, and Gilly is just staring at it.
I just have to sit with this.
And he just has to stare at it. And
Gil, why are your lips so red?
Like 4 years ago, I was on a live stream, and someone's like, Gil, why does your hair look so weird? And I realized that if I put the light above me, like it hits my scalp.
Yeah.
And so I ordered some like black powder on Amazon that I can put in my hair before a stream. Now I need to get some like lipstick or something, and some kind of like jaw filler,
like a Dick Tracy jaw.
Sorry, that was a very mean thing. Let's do a nicer one from Psycho Chat Black. Doug, make some funny jokes about your brother Rob.
He's dumb and stupid and not me. Ha ha!
That'll get him. And Psycho Chat Black again. Do you trust James Gunn to fix the DCU? I think James Gunn will do fine with the new DCU. The problem is, have the audience just lost interest, and will they show up for the first movie?
Well, technically they haven't, because it wasn't Blue Beetle.
Well, no, that was, he was real vague, because remember Flash was going to reboot the universe, and then that movie flopped, so they like shushed it over here. And they said, yeah, he's the first DCU character, but Superman will be the first DCU movie. But then that movie bombed, and they're like, forget Blue Beetle existed. It never happened.
It's Superman now. I'm with you. I don't know if they're gonna get the audience back, they really have to do something new and different. I hate to say it, I still like James Gunn. He's becoming a little formulaic. He's got a little bit of a familiar formula. So I think they really have to change something up, and I don't know what or how. It's possible, but man, they gotta really think outside the box with it.
But no, I'm excited to see how it does. But it might be one of those movies where I'm like, wow, this movie was actually really good, and it could have led to something. But everyone was so burnt out on previous incarnations, they just didn't show up.
It was worrying when he said The Flash was the greatest superhero movie of all time.
At that point, Warner Brothers invested so much money into it.
They're like, James, please say this. We'll pay you $10 million.
Please say this. It's so bad. Okay, we have some patrons in here. One of them was in and out of here. Let's have Logan, who shows up for Planet of the Apes videos. Gilly.
Because they had nothing better to do this time.
Logan, my best friend. Way better than Gil. What did you watch on the list?
So I watched The Fall Guy and X-Men 97.
Okay, what did you think of Fall Guy?
So I liked it so much, I thought maybe I watched the wrong movie, how y'all talking about it.
You're like, oh, wait, I was playing Fall Guys, the video game.
Well, the thing is, I don't know, man. Like, y'all kept on saying stuff. I'm like, I just felt like the exact opposite, and not just to argue. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, I had a lot of fun with it. I wrote a note saying it is Hangover meets True Lies. I feel
That's
like.
pretty funny. Okay.
And also, no one said it. This is the second time Ryan Gosling's played a stuntman. Drive.
Oh, Drive.
Oh, that's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Everyone's gonna hate me. I'm gonna lose film bro status. I've never seen Drive, and
Oh, it's good, man.
It's
Wow,
never
good,
really good.
but
I've
it's a
never
one
seen-
watcher.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen any of that director's movies. I have such a blind spot there. It was one of those like in 2010. I was like, that movie looks good. I'll watch it one day. And here we are in 2024, and I keep forgetting it exists. I keep forgetting to get around to it.
It's good. Like I said, it was like a movie of the time. Like it introduced me to like synthwave, and like it was one of those movies where you didn't know how the movie was going to be. And then when you start like if you get around to watch, I don't know if you looked a lot up about it, but when you get around to watch it, it's about like 35 minutes into the movie. And you're like, oh shit, that's the movie we're watching. I'm on board.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that movie's great. I like this movie. Like the comedy was funny. The part where he's messing with his hoodie and glass just constantly keeps on falling out, I thought was hilarious.
I mean, that was pretty funny. He's shaking the glass out.
Yeah. I thought that was really good. The Tom Ryder guy, like the actor, it literally seemed like he was trying to be Matthew McConaughey on the set of the movie.
He was doing a Matthew McConaughey
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah, that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and
I
I
know.
kind of like, I will say it was predictable. Like I kind of already knew like, oh, he probably killed somebody, and she's covering up because she's the producer and she's got so much money invested in this. So like, I kind of saw that like halfway through the film, but it didn't bother me. I was like, it's still funny. Like I watched so much. I told Becca, which is my wife, I was like, oh, you got to watch this one with me. You got to watch this one with me.
Yeah,
You're
that
gonna
like I said, that is like a couple's date movie. I think.
It does. Yeah, I took my wife to see that movie. We saw it together. You know, she liked it. So yeah, and I have heard people like it quite a bit. So I think there is definitely an audience for it. They just don't like going to movies right now.
Well, that is.
and
I would agree. That's not a movie I would have went to the theater to see. But when I watched it, I was like, man, that was pretty good. I was just shocked. I think maybe my expectations were so low, and it just caught me off guard.
Also, I have to retract that statement. Nicholas Winding Refn, the director of Drive, I have seen one of his movies, Bronson, starring Tom Hardy. That's the one that I've seen. I didn't realize that was...
God, don't watch Only God Forgives. That movie's awful.
You know what's funny? I think I have it on DVD somewhere.
I was so
No.
let down because I was
Yeah.
such a big fan of Drive. I couldn't wait to watch another one of his movies, and that came out, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? What is this?
How did you feel about X-Men 97?
So I loved it, and I'm a big X-Men guy. Like I mean, I don't know if you remember Tony, but like I've got like the entire X-Men 91.
Oh, that's cool.
Complete.
Oh my god, that is cool. It's like the Jim Lee drawing
Yeah,
too.
the
Oh my
X-Men
god.
90
Wait, hold on.
Cool.
Bring it up again. Bring it up again. Solo layout. There you go. Show it
That,
off.
it's Cable. Oh my
Oh, yeah, I
god,
had
that is
Cable and,
cool.
And Deadpool added live
Man.
Deadpool, but yeah, it's literally the entire.
That is awesome. I'm sorry, I love tattoos. That's really freaking cool.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of that. I mean, this was my childhood, and then like really, to be honest, like I'm a comic guy, mainly DC, but the only stuff I literally enjoy reading of Marvel is the X-Men stuff. Mainly and definitely the 2000 era after the Ultimate stopped, and they kind of like where they Scarlet Witch got rid of all the mutants after House of M and stuff like that. Like that story arc for like the next 10 years is like phenomenal. Bendis starts writing some of it, and it's really, really good. But like this stuff was like X-Men and Spider-Man, those were my jams. Like I couldn't wait to wake up and watch them. They were my life as a child, buying the toys at the KB Toys and stuff like that. I thought the writing was great. I was really glad that this was not really a kid's show. It is definitely an adult show. It's for us.
You show the original one to your kids, and you're like, all right, when you're 12, we'll show you the last season.
Well, the funny
But
thing is,
it makes you feel like a kid again. That's what I like about it.
oh yeah, most definitely. I tried getting my son to watch the show, but like kids' attention spans are just like they're just different these days, and like he just didn't care at all.
That's what I keep hearing. But I try to put on stuff for my nieces. They're like almost 2, and I put on like cartoons and stuff, and they can't pay attention. I put on an old Godzilla movie where Godzilla's maybe in it for 6 minutes, and they'll sit and watch the entire film. I don't know why. I've had to watch Godzilla versus Kong like the new one, because they like Kong in it. They like his face, and they like making sounds. And they will watch that whole movie, even the scenes where there aren't monsters. And I'm like, all right, let's try Power Rangers. There's big monsters in that, and like they just tune out. I'm like, but you're supposed to have less of an attention span. You're going in reverse.
But I don't know if y'all noticed, like when you were watching it, when I first started watching it, I paused the TV and I'm like, is that our TV? But then I was like, no, they added that digital noise to the video.
Yeah, the filters and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, that's so cool.
You can kind of see it here, like the texture.
Oh, no, you can definitely see it, yeah.
Also, did you guys notice the Watcher in the background in the sky?
Yeah, that one little bit in the stars. Yeah,
I wonder if that's
really
going to be in like the next What If season or something like that.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Okay, Logan, good seeing you again. Everyone, go back and watch our Planet of the Apes episode. That was a great time.
Very fun.
And subscribe to Video Villa Entertainment. I was on there reviewing John Carpenter's Memoirs of the Invisible Man. It's a good time. All right, see you later, Logan. And next up, we got Lucha Steve. Hello, Lucha Steve. What did you watch on the list? You have no audio.
Can't hear you, buddy.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
There we go.
Am I good?
What did you watch on the list?
I watched Furiosa, Taro, and what was the third one? I think that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
I also watched the Jennifer Lopez hit movie Atlas.
I hear it's great.
Okay. Can I get a thank you for not putting that on the list? Does that redeem me from putting that
You know, it would have been more entertaining than Taro, honestly.
Yeah.
I bet.
I'm mad because I watched it because I thought it was going to be on the list, and it'd be like, look.
Like I said, I had to cram in 5 seasons of X-Men on top of a lot of other things. Watching the Planet of the Apes movies, I'm like, I can only do 5 things this month. I can only do 5 things.
Taro might have actually been better than Atlas. I haven't decided yet.
Wow.
That's a bold statement.
That makes me want to see Atlas more, I'm not going to lie.
How did you feel about Furiosa?
I loved it, actually. There was a part of me in the theater when I was watching it where I was just like, is this the best one? I still think it's like goes between Fury Road and Road Warrior, but I really liked what Furiosa did. Like Doug kind of said, it kind of brought back that exploitation feel from like that the original had that didn't really get carried over. But it's also like felt like this like huge like epic story with that, and then there's dogs barking, so that's great. There's this huge like epic feel, like kind of like in like this like cheapy feeling like type of movie. Like this is like if Roger Corman got like $15 million in the 70s, I feel like this is like the movie he would make.
Rest in peace, Roger Corman.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a bummer. But I get what you're saying. This feels like a direct. We were talking about the effects. Furiosa reminds me of like if they did a direct-to-video sequel to a big movie and they just made it really cheap.
Yeah,
it's like we couldn't get Charlize Theron back. Let's get on it.
That is a direct-to-video tactic. We're like we got to do a follow-up. We'll get a younger person and say it's a prequel. Scorpion King 2, The Rise of the Scorpion King.
There's already one.
I actually thought she did a really good job. There was like some moments towards the end where she actually started sounding like Charlize Theron. She must have
when it was the shot from behind her head, and she sounded just like her.
I wonder if she did the Austin Butler tactic of I need to sound like this person no matter what.
It was like method acting, like call me Charlize. Like you don't want to call you Furiosa. I don't think you.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.
Thank you for being a patron. John Johnson was in there and he disappeared.
John Johnson.
Who was that masked man?
Psycho Jet Black for $2 says, will any of you get a neck tattoo like the wrestler Cody Rhodes? No, I don't have any tattoos, but I'm definitely not going to start with a neck tattoo.
I need to distract people from my square jaw, so yeah, definitely.
A square jaw is a good thing, by the way.
That's what I thought. Don Draper,
Tattoo is
Batman.
more of a square jaw. I like the lines along there.
All right, let me do this. Oh God, no. How did I do it before? I did that. I did this. Sorry. Now where's the Google Drive? Where did
I'll
it
be
go?
right back while you figure this out.
God damn it.
All right, we're gonna stare at a wall now.
I'm gonna
Hold
take
on,
more
hold
of
on.
my-
No,
oh,
I
it's
got it,
already
I got it,
gone,
I
so I
got it,
can't
I
even do
got it,
that.
I got it.
I'll just eat an Oreo or something, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, we got some voicemails here. We only have a few. Everyone get their drinks in. Okay.
Good.
First voicemail. Make sure we hear this.
Hello?
Oh, I
you
can
hear
hear that. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hello? Do you have my medicine? Hello? Well, where's my daughter? Hello? I gave you the money. Give me back my son. You fuck.
Okay, well,
What? Is it the daughter or son? Which is it?
I'm a little. And the medicine? I don't know.
What's
I'm
going
not
on
sure
here,
what we
man?
did.
Maybe the medicine changed the kid from a daughter to son. I don't know.
Also, I thought Gil was doing a bit. He legit just.
He was legit. Yeah. It's all about It's all blah, blah, blah.
He's doing a funny comedy bit. Okay, let's see what this one is.
Oh my God, Hack the Movies. Tony and JoeyC are so manly.
Ah.
Wow.
Huh.
This is not JoeyC.
Oh, Joey, see. I thought that sounded like you, but you said it's not you.
No, that wasn't. No.
JoeyC is very manly. And
Wow.
so is Tony.
Wow.
I am not JoeyC.
I get
Whoa.
it. Sounds like it's you, but it keeps
It's
insisting
weird.
that
They keep
it's
saying it's not. Yeah.
Whoa.
weird.
That ain't me.
I'm manly. Goodbye.
Joey, see, I
Oh.
think that was you. Did you leave
No.
a voice?
No, that might have been.
Was it Grimace? Grimace has that suspicious look. He can't even look you in the face, man. He can't look you in the eye.
You're giving yourself. You're calling into the show to give yourself compliments.
No, man, that was Mrs. JoeyC, Tony, if you remember from our Mrs. Doubtfire episode.
And she's very
Yeah, the-
womanly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Joey, see, our Mrs. Doubtfire episode, it didn't do that super well. I wonder if like a bigger channel put their episode out like a day or two before.
They sound like a-holes.
I know. There were like 2 or 3 times where me and Doug were putting out similar episodes.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Garfield and stuff like. Or no. You reviewed Garfield Christmas just because like me and
Oh,
James
yeah, I
did something
I
Garfield
did
related.
that as
All
a
right, I'll do
YouTube short
Garfield.
because I felt left out. No, it was Mrs. Doubt. There were a couple
Oh,
other ones.
Edward Scissorhands, that was it. I think like I posted a review and you just sent a picture of you editing it. It's just like you motherfucker.
Like, I'm gonna sue you. I did get some comments that were angry. Like, did you see that Doug did this? I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Roger Ebert reviewed all those movies on video way before us.
Thief.
You don't see me going to his grave being like, how dare you review the Bram Stoker Dracula 1992, you asshole. Okay.
Hi, Tony. I had 2 questions.
Okay.
One, what do you think is the best indie horror film that has come out in the past 5 years or so?
Okay, best indie horror film. I think we talked about it on the year wrap up. What was it? Where Evil Lurks. Remember that one? Did you watch that one,
yeah.
Joey C?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
dude,
on that
that-
episode. Yeah.
Where Evil Lurks is awesome, Doug.
So good.
On
Okay.
Shudder. I think it's an Argentinian film because I accidentally said Spanish and I was corrected. But basically, it's like if demonic possession was like a viral outbreak, and they've managed to get a good like hold on it, but now it's starting to outbreak again. It's gruesome. It like
I love the poster of it. It's just this
Yeah.
giant hand pointing down to the ground. These people looking like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And like drawing a line. Okay, this looks like fun. This looks really cool.
Oh no, When Evil Lurks. Sorry, When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks. Okay.
Is that still the same thing? It might still be the same thing.
It is.
Okay, yeah. It's like every the stuff that horror movies shy away from, this one will just do. Sorry, Gil's back. I thought you were doing a bit. I didn't expect you to actually leave. So someone asked me what the best indie horror film in the last 5 years is, and I was telling Doug about When Evil Lurks, when we reviewed on the year wrap-up. That thing was awesome.
I gotta check that out, yeah.
Okay, so you had a second question for me. Let's see what the second question is.
Also, why is your head so big? It's distracting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
So, Doug, my asshole friends on their show, Biggest Problem in the Universe, every episode they make a point to do a whole comedy bit about how my head is too big. And now it's catching on. And I feel like Elaine in Seinfeld, where the guy breaks up with her and says she has a big head, and then it starts getting to her head, and
She
now
gets, like, hit by
about it all
a
the
bird.
time.
Yeah, the bird just ran right into your head. You go wear like a babushka over your head.
Joey, are
Cover it
you
up.
measuring my head on the monitor?
No. I was just. It's not too big, man. It's the perfect size. I don't like them too big, anyways.
He's a manly man.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the same one again? Hold on.
Yeah, hey, Tony and friends. It's Adam from the...
This is Adam. He called into the show, left a super chat.
I
and
just
now
want to say how much I love Doug and Nostalgia Critic.
channel Adam Does Movies. I was just out doing some errands and I saw a homeless guy touching himself, and I thought of you, Tony. So I thought I would call in and say how excited I am for the live stream tonight, that I can't attend because you refuse to put them on any other night but Thursday when new movies come out, and I have to go to them because I watch and review movies. Anyway, you guys just keep it classy over there. Hopefully JoeyC isn't too manly. Hopefully Gil adds his professionalism if he's on. Johanna maybe put the brownies down and focus on the conversation. And Tony, you just keep doing your thing. All right? The stars are right around the corner. Just reach for them and maybe you can grab one. All right. Hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you all. Bye.
I love you too.
That's a great voicemail.
Again, Doug, whenever I watch
love
your channel,
Adam.
I'm always like, wow, they look like they really get along. They probably say nice things. And that's 3 ways my friend Adam just like ruined my day.
I thought he was being a perfect gentleman. I don't know what's... Maybe you're the problem, Tony.
Maybe. Everyone just subscribe to Adam Does Movies. I'm packing it up here. Show's over. All right.
Oh my god. I can't believe I made it through. I love you both so much. Oh my god. I love you. Wait, who did I call?
Great voicemail, guys. Okay, let's see if we can redeem ourselves with these awful voicemails.
So I see
Hold
you're
on.
screening these as well.
Hi,
This is
Tony.
good.
It's Chris here. Tony, I don't think you were too impressed with my performance on June 2.
Oh my god, guys! Christopher Walken!
Mr. Walken himself!
I can't believe that!
Tony, you got to understand that life on set was hell. Me and the guys were walking around the desert with nothing to eat besides cocktail weenies. So, Tony, bear that in mind. Anyway, I look forward to your review of Job's War. All the best, Tony.
Okay, yeah. So
I loved you in June too! Oh, he's gone! I really wanted him, man. That was my chance!
You missed it. We reviewed Lawnmower Man recently. Didn't do that well, so please go watch that episode. They did a direct-to-video sequel to that movie called Job's War. We will be reviewing that, but on Patreon, so I don't take a financial hit again. Yeah. Doug, did you know there was a direct-to-video sequel to Lawnmower Man?
I have to remind myself there's an actual sequel to it. Yeah, with Matt Frewer.
Oh, God. No, that is the sequel I'm talking about. That was direct-to-video, wasn't it?
No, that got a big screen release. I don't remember being called Job's War though. It's actually called Lawnmower Man 2.
It's Job's War internationally. I think it's called Beyond Cyberspace in America.
Yes, that got a big screen release. I remember seeing the trailers for it and stuff like that.
I watched like 30 minutes of it the other day, and I'm just like, oh, no way this made it to theaters. So, now that you said it made it to theaters, I'm like, why did they think they would get away with that? That's
literally what I said when I saw the trailer. Oh, no way this made it to theaters.
Okay, all right. Let's get John Johnson, and then we can get the hell out of here. John Johnson, what did you watch? And your mic's off. There you go.
What the? Hello?
Hi. What movies did you watch? And you're Jupiter Janley.
I saw none of them. I just wanted to ask, why didn't you put Garfield on this month's wrap-up? What the hell was that about?
Well, again, I didn't have time. All right, look. Chris Pratt already appropriated an amazing Italian character when he played Super Mario.
I agree.
I will not listen to him appropriate the most famous Italian cat, Garfield. I can't be insulted twice.
That's
I saw
Italian
he didn't
name.
even like. He did a thing where he said he didn't even like lasagna. I'm like, when will this man stop making a mockery of my? And then people were like, Tony, why do you only celebrate your people's stereotypes? And I go, shut up in your face. Anyway. As we were talking about prequels, and now I don't care about the origins of stuff. I don't care about the origin of Garfield. I'm sorry. I don't know. Am I missing out, Dougie? Did you see Garfield? Am I missing out?
Hell no.
Okay,
to both, I didn't see it, and you're not missing out.
Did anyone else in the panel see Garfield? Joey, did you see it?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Wait, you actually saw Garfield?
Yep.
What's wrong with you?
Why the hell did you
He
see
saw Garfield. That's what's wrong
in
with it.
theaters? You went to the theater to see Garfield?
Well, unfortunately, I have a job to do, and I had to do this, and
Okay.
it was horrible.
If you said you
was
just
horrible.
went because you're a Garfield fan and thought it would be good, I would have had a private conversation with you. Gil, you didn't see Garfield, did you?
No.
Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp was enough, wasn't
Oh
it?
my god! I fucking hate that show. Why'd you bring it up?
So, Doug, Gil does a series called What Blank Movie Is Really About. And he trolled us on the last wrap up because we did Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. And he did this whole thing about what it's about. He was getting real deep. And then he goes, I'm kidding. I turned it off after 15 minutes. But I clipped that and I made the thumbnail similar to his other videos. And he put it on his What Blank Is Really About playlist. Yeah. So somewhere right now, there's people watching what Civil War is really about, what this is really about, what Woody Woodpecker and it's a completely different format. It's only 10 minutes long. Okay.
I gotta check that out. I do want to know what Woody Woodpecker is about and not about at the same time.
All right, John Johnson, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Okay, goodbye. All right, now we're at the end. Doug, where can we find you? Even though you're probably bigger than all of us, people already know who you are.
Yeah.
Just go to Channel Awesome. Go to channelawesome.com, takes us to our YouTube page, and lots of funny hilarity haha happens there.
Okay. Gil, where can we find you? Even though I just kind of plugged your channel.
YouTube.com/OneTakeVids, coming out with a House of the Dragon Season 1 recap the next few days.
Ooh.
And then June and July will be all Marvel. MCU timeline update, X-Men timeline. Going to review all the X-Men movies coming up to Deadpool 3 and some other great stuff.
Wait, but I'm reviewing most of the X-Men movies leading up to Deadpool 3.
He's the asshole this time.
Gil's last
However he
episode, JoeyC.
You can come on if you want, but I don't want to take down Hack the Movies too.
Yeah, I'm playing with fire here right now. JoeyC, what do you got going on? I saw you did Ernest Goes to School or something.
I did do. You can go to youtube.com/officialjoeyc. I revisited Ernest Goes to School. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also just did a video on why the mayor in Jaws is the shark. If you don't believe me, watch the video.
By the way, you
very
said
true.
that was a hot take, and I wanted to say, Joey, that's not a hot take. That's a dumb theory.
No, hey, what do you mean, dumb theory?
You're
Did
like,
you
hot
listen to my
take?
Evidence?
Hot take? No. I get what you're doing. It's just that's not technically a hot take. That's a weird theory.
Perhaps it's a bit of an uphill argument, but the mayor
A hot take
is
would be
the
like,
shark.
Jaws isn't that good. That would be a hot
Whoa.
take.
Not get crazy here. I'm just saying the mayor's the shark. Come on now.
So there's a local brewery near me where I actually do events, and on the wall before you get in the bathroom, it's just a giant painting of the mayor from Jaws adjusting his tie. I don't know why it's in there. I don't see any other movies. I'll send you a picture afterwards, but I'm like, why?
Because
is
the
that
shark
there?
had him painted.
Dude, he is the shark, man. I'm telling you.
This was a great time. Thank you again, Doug. Thank you to all the patrons. Thanks for everyone watching, and super thanks to everyone who super chatted. You're better than the other people who watched. Why are people mean to me? Is it because I pit them against each other?
Weird.
All right, goodbye, everyone. We'll see you all next time. See ya.
Bye.